Chapter 761. The other person's expression became serious as he nodded and said, "It said that those 8 aquatic beast kings are the aquatic beasts that guard the 8 regions of the fish scale world. Do you think they're strong or not? If we hadn't gotten rid of those 8 aquatic beast kings, the aquatic beast tide would have been unstoppable, and who knows how many regions they would have ravaged." The bearded big man felt quite envious as he said, "It would be great if I had that much power. I want to see what those aquatic beast kings were like and just how powerful they were." Hearing this, the other person lightly laughed as he said, "It's very likely that you'll be instantly killed if you go up. However, I'm a bit worried because the place where the aquatic beast kings are sealed has also been flooded. I wonder if something unexpected will happen." Just as the bearded man was about to say something, the scene suddenly quietened down. Everyone looked toward the door. A cloaked person had appeared at the door without anyone noticing. He was Emperor Qin. Zhao Fu did not mind everyone's gazes and walked into the hall. He looked around before sitting down next to Tina Pendragon. Seeing that Zhao Fu had finally arrived, an elder stepped out and smiled as he said, "The meeting will now begin." A resolute-looking, middle-aged man from the Chinese government walked out and spoke. There were 2 main things in this meeting. One was to discuss how to attack, and the other was to discuss how to defend. Right now, the fish scale people have occupied the breach and are sending large amounts of seawater into the human world. They have also set up a powerful barrier, so we must first get rid of the source of the breach. Only then will the seawater stop flowing into the human world. Right now, we are building a dam. Even though it has countless restrictions, it is made of mud and stone, and the water is already 10 or so meters high. If the fish scale people destroy the dam, the consequences will be unimaginable. We need to use even sturdier materials to build a second dam, just in case. Hearing this, everyone nodded. They all agreed on the second issue, which was to build a second dam, just in case. However, the first problem was not easy to solve. First, they had to figure out how to break through the barrier. There were also the 1 billion or so fish scale people nearby. Everyone discussed this, and Zhao Fu did not say anything and listened intently. While the humans were discussing, the fish scale people had already started to move. A scouting party of thousands of people had stealthily infiltrated the human world. After obtaining some information, Zhao Fu returned to the fish scale world. Apart from reporting on the construction of dams, he also found the place where the 8 aquatic beast kings were sealed. The dangerous aura coming from that region was simply too powerful, and it would be difficult not to notice it. This news caused the fish scale world side to feel incredibly shocked. They had thought that the 8 aquatic beast kings were still rampaging in the human world and had never thought that they would be sealed so quickly. This made them even more curious as to how the humans had done it. After all, they had been completely helpless against the 8 aquatic beast kings. The fish scale world's legatees stealthily came to the human world and looked at the ink-black spear stabbed into the water. It looked quite ordinary, but it gave off a hair-raising power. "I didn't think that the 8 great sea beast kings would be sealed here. It seems that the human world really can't be underestimated. However, they actually placed the seal here. If we remove the seal, the 8 great sea beast kings will definitely attack the humans. This will be very advantageous for us to continue our invasion." The ugly fatty had a smile on his face as he looked at the black spear stuck in the ground. The fanged big man disdainfully harumphed as he said, "Humans live in comfort and are too careless. I'll remove the seal right now." Everyone else looked quite supportive, but they did not act. After all, no one knew how powerful the black spear's sealing power was. Now that someone had volunteered to be a guinea pig, they naturally supported it. However, the power to seal the 8 great sea beast kings was definitely terrifying. Seeing the fanged big man swim over, everyone else stealthily retreated in case anything unexpected happened. The big man came before the black spear, and his body gave off a large amount of green light. He exploded out with a terrifying aura, and the surrounding water turned into a shockwave. Suddenly, the big man gripped the black spear. This caused everyone else to feel quite surprised. They had never thought that the big man would be completely fine after gripping the black spear. Following this, The big man started to exert force, trying to pull the black spear out. Bang! A black light flashed as a formless energy sent the big man flying back. His chest was blood red, and it seemed that he had been heavily injured. In front of this energy, the fanged big man was unable to resist at all. Everyone else's expressions showed that they had expected this. Since this person dared to place the sealed region here so easily, there was definitely something off about it. It seemed that this seal was not something they could break. Perhaps their world protector could try, but the fish-scale world protector had always been cultivating deep within the sea and did not interfere with anything. He had not participated in this invasion, and this was something that the legatees and the various factions had agreed on. The bewitching woman said, "Let's hurry and leave. Now that the seal has been touched, that person will definitely sense it." Everyone nodded, and the ugly big man carried the fanged big man. Even though this big man was quite stupid, he was incredibly powerful. He had been used as a guinea pig by the others, so they had to save him. Now that both sides knew about the other side, there was nothing they could do. They could only temporarily enter a stalemate. Time gradually passed. After waiting here for so long, the humans' passion for battle had slightly decreased. The water level in the dam had been rising to 20 or so meters, and even though the dam had been raised by another 10 meters, the situation was still not looking good. The fish-scale world had always held the initiative, while the humans had been on the defensive. As time went on, the humans' passion for battle would gradually decrease, and if they left like before, the fish-scale people would most likely launch another sneak attack. They could not continue like this, so they decided to attack. Even though there was a powerful barrier protecting the entrance, if 1 billion people attacked at the same time, the barrier would be easily destroyed. Everyone had long since thought of this method, but they were not very confident in fighting in the water. This was a battle between worlds, and if they made a single mistake, countless people would die. As such, they hesitated, but there was no time left. They could only make a decision. Large ships appeared on the surface of the water. They were finally going to fight, and everyone felt quite excited. They were also quite angry at the fish-scale world's extermination plan. After going through this battle, everyone was filled with battle intent, and they gave off a grand aura as they started to head toward the entrance. Chapter 762. The humans also jumped into the water. Because the boats were made of wood, it was quite difficult for people with low cultivation to destroy them. However, people with stage 1 cultivation could easily destroy the boats. Once the boats entered the water, they would sink into the water, and a powerful suction force would drag them into the water. Now that everyone had a water pearl, even if they could not swim, they did not have to worry. Once they fell into the water pearl would give off a faint light. A membrane would appear on the surface of their bodies, which could keep out water and extract oxygen from the water. There were quite a few people attacking this time, and the fleet at the front had all stopped in the water and started a fight with the fish-scale people. However, even though the humans had undergone some training, they were still weaker in the water than the fish-scale people, who had lived in the water for a long time. The fish-scale people were like agile fish in the water and could do all sorts of things, while the humans were quite clumsy. A soldier jumped into the water and stabbed his spear at the fish-scale person in front of him. The fish-scale person twisted his body incredibly quickly, easily dodging the soldier's attack. He then swam to the other side with a short saber and started to attack the soldier. The fish-scale person's attacks were incredibly ferocious, and the soldier could only passively defend as he retreated and used his spear to block. He had no chance to retaliate at all. The soldier furiously shot out a large amount of spear light towards the fish-scale person. The fish-scale person coldly smiled and agilely retreated, dodging the soldier's attack before kicking out with his legs. A few ripples spread out, and the fish-scale person shot out like an arrow and slashed out with his short saber, giving off a cold light. The human soldier was given a big fright and hurriedly retreated, but it was too late. The short saber easily sent his head flying, and blood flowed out from his neck, dyeing the water around him blood red. His headless corpse also sank into the water. The fish-scale person coldly harumphed. overestimating yourselves, humans. You dare to fight with us in the water?" Following this, the fish scale person's body twisted, and he quickly swam to another human's side, and soon he had taken another human's head. In the water, humans with the same cultivation would usually lose, and those with lower cultivation would definitely die. Only those with a higher cultivation could suppress the fish scale people. However, the fish scale people were actually more powerful than the humans, so the humans had a one-sided advantage. In just a short while, the human side had lost 10 million people, and they had killed less than 1 million fish scale people. The difference in casualties was simply too great. If they were on land, they definitely would not have suffered so many casualties. However, the water was their home ground, and their cultivations were slightly higher than the humans. The people at the front quickly retreated. The people in charge of commanding here were the generals of the various factions, and they all had a lot of battle experience. Seeing that the front lines had suffered such heavy casualties, if this continued, they would definitely lose, so they had to make some changes. The people at the front felt quite annoyed because they felt like they had nowhere to go. Their power was restricted by the water, and they could not use their full strength. The fish scale people's attacks were incredibly ferocious, and they could only follow orders. As they retreated, a large number of archers appeared behind them. They drew their bows and sent their cultivation power into them, causing the arrowheads to give off a cold light. Because shooting arrows in the water would be weakened by the water, all of the soldiers used their full strength. Arrows tore through the air, giving off shocking sounds. Many fish scale people were given a big fright, and they immediately dodged. However, many fish scale people were still hit, and many of them were injured or killed. This changed the human side situation, and they were finally able to attack the fish scale people. This made everyone feel quite delighted, but the situation quickly turned around as fish scale cavalrymen appeared from the sides of the human army. These fish scale cavalrymen were split into 3 types: those who rode swordfish, those who rode sharks, and those who rode large catfish. The fish scale cavalrymen who rode on swordfish held spears and were incredibly fast. They shot out like rays of silver light, giving off shocking momentum as they charged into the human army. They were unstoppable and unstoppable. The spears pierced through countless human bodies. What was even more ferocious were the cavalrymen who rode sharks. Even though they were not as fast as swordfish, they were not slow either. When they reached the humans, the sharks that were 3 meters long could bite off half of a human's body. The shark cavalrymen held saber-like weapons, which were incredibly suited for large-scale battles. When they slashed out with saber lights, they could often take 5 or 6 people's heads. The ones with the most ferocious auras were the cavalrymen riding catfish. Their catfish were 6 meters long and had large heads. They swam quite quickly and gave off ferocious power as they charged into the human army like ferocious bulls, sending the humans in front of them flying. In front of cavalrymen, infantrymen were easily oppressed. The fish scale cavalrymen attacked from both sides, causing the human army to suffer heavy losses. Their formations collapsed, and blood dyed the water red. This attack killed at least 70 million humans, while less than 500,000 fish scale people were injured. The human army continuously retreated, forming defensive formations and no longer attacking. The shield-bearers stood at the outermost perimeter. The humans were quite prepared for underwater battles, and their shields could release a semicircular energy barrier that could simultaneously block attacks from 3 directions. The infantrymen supported the shield-bearers, and the archers in the 3rd row drew their bows. Charge! A tall fish scale person riding on a massive catfish led a massive group of cavalrymen, giving off a ferocious aura as they charged forwards. The human general roared, "Stop them with your lives on the line. We're the human race's most important line of defense. If we lose, all of humanity will die. Fire!" The soldiers drew their bows, and arrows shot out with a cold light. The shield-bearers roared, and the veins on their bodies bulged as they prepared to desperately defend against the incoming cavalry. Countless arrows flew out, shooting down fish scale people. Some of the arrows hit their mounts, and even though the fish did not directly die, They felt immense pain and lost control, causing the fish-scale people's momentum to decrease. Boom! However, the fish-scale cavalrymen's momentum was not weak at all, and they slammed into the human army's shield wall. Arg! The human soldiers gripped their shields with both hands and gave heart-wrenching cries as they used all of their strength to defend, forcibly stopping the massive wave of cavalrymen. Arrows madly shot out, causing the fish-scale cavalrymen to suffer heavy casualties. Once the cavalrymen were stopped, the threat they posed would be greatly reduced. The fish-scale cavalrymen could only quickly turn around and retreat, and the pressure on the human side was greatly reduced. Roar! Roar! Chapter 763. These were aquatic beasts, and even though the largest one was only 1,000 meters tall and couldn't compare to the aquatic beasts from before, they were still incredibly powerful. More importantly, these aquatic beasts could be controlled, unlike before when they couldn't be controlled. Under the fish-scale people's control, the millions of aquatic beasts started a deathly charge. Rumble! Deafening explosions sounded out as the millions of aquatic beasts gave off terrifying auras as they rushed towards the human army. Get into formation! The human commander roared, reducing the humans' fear towards the aquatic beast tide. Everyone started to move, standing in their own positions and roaring as they exploded out with their full power. Auras rose up from the soldiers' bodies. These auras gathered above them like fog, forming the appearances of the azure dragon, black tortoise, vermilion bird, and white tiger. They gave off terrifying auras and gave off boundless light. For barriers of light appeared in front of the human army, blocking in 4 directions. These 4 barriers of light were azure, blue, red, and white, representing different powers. Boom! The apocalyptic wave of millions of aquatic beasts gave off destructive power as it ferociously slammed against the barriers of light, causing them to tremble. Luckily, they were able to block the aquatic beast tide's attack. This allowed the human army to let out a sigh of relief. However, the sounds of conches suddenly sounded out from behind the aquatic beast tide. The countless aquatic beasts seemed to have been provoked by something, and their eyes became blood red as they exploded out with terrifying auras and once again slammed against the barriers of light. The barriers of light shattered, and the aquatic beast tide ferociously rushed towards the human army. The human army was greatly startled, and the shield bearers at the front held their shields with both hands and roared as they defended. Bang! 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 The shield bearers were sent flying, but this also weakened the aquatic beast tide's momentum. The infantrymen at the back madly attacked, stabbing their weapons into the aquatic beasts' bodies. Aquatic beasts were killed one by one, and their corpses sank to the bottom of the water. Bang! 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 The aquatic beasts once again sent the infantrymen in front of them flying, but in the next moment, the shield bearers roared as they rushed up, once again weakening the aquatic beast tide's momentum. Following this, the infantrymen roared as they continued to rush up, and the archers continuously shot out arrows. The massive wave of aquatic beasts was unable to instantly break through the human army's formation, and it was instead gradually weakened. However, the price for this was massive, and the human army had lost 120 million or so people. However, they had made great gains. They had killed roughly 7 million or so aquatic beasts, causing the aquatic beast tide to collapse. They were no longer a threat, and now they would be hunted down by the humans. Seeing this, the fish-scale commander quickly ordered the remaining aquatic beasts to retreat. The fish-scale cavalrymen once again gathered, and they charged from the human army from the front, left, and right. Apart from these cavalrymen, a large number of fish-scale archers and infantrymen also appeared. The cavalrymen charged, while the archers shot infantrymen cavalrymen. As to the human to the to. The two sides quickly collided like a massive tidal wave, crashing toward the towering mountain. However, the human army's formation was already on the verge of collapse from dealing with the aquatic beasts, and the fish-scale cavalry's charge dealt a heavy blow to the human army. At that moment, the fish-scale people ferociously charged forwards, and the human army started to collapse. They could only retreat and swim to the surface of the water, climbing onto ships. These ships had formations, so they were much faster than swimming. At that moment, the fish-scale people ferociously charged forwards, and the human army started to collapse. They could only retreat and swim to the surface of the water, climbing onto ships. These ships had magic formations, so they were much faster than swimming. As the human army retreated, the fish-scale people continued to ferociously chase after them. They shot out arrows and destroyed the ships, causing the soldiers on the ships to fall into the water. The fish-scale people were quite excited, and they looked as if they were hunting the humans. Out of the 1 billion people who had set out, only 500 million had returned. 400 million players had died, and 100 million Stage 1 soldiers had died. It was because of these Stage 1 soldiers that the human army had been able to fight back. Otherwise, they would not have been able to stop a single wave of fish-scale cavalrymen. On the other hand, the fish-scale people had only lost around 7 million people. The human army had suffered a crushing defeat. The people who had returned felt a trace of fear towards the fish-scale people's savagery and fighting underwater. They had been completely annihilated. Compared to the humans' misery, the fish-scale people were quite delighted. This was a great victory, and they had killed 500 million humans at a cost of 7 million. The fish-scale factions had never thought that they would have such a great harvest. Even though they had expected that the humans would be asking to be beaten up by them underwater, they had never expected the humans to be so weak. The fish-scale people had single-handedly slaughtered the humans. I think we should continue to chase after them. The humans have suffered a great defeat, and their morale is quite low. If we launch a large-scale invasion, we'll be able to make good gains. Moreover, we don't need to directly face them. We just need to destroy the dams they've built. The water level in the dams has reached 30 or so meters, and if the dams collapse, we'll be able to instantly inundate hundreds of regions. We can continue to use seawater to invade the human world, and we won't give them another chance to build dams. That way, we'll be able to conquer the human world very quickly. A white-haired elder said to the countless fish-scale people present. The ugly fatty smiled as he said in agreement. Also, we should continue to gather our forces and deal a heavy blow to the humans. With a massive army, we'll be able to defend against the humans' other tricks, as well as their final counterattacks. The alluring woman also smiled as she said, "Then shouldn't we talk about how to divide up the human world?" Last time, during the beast tide, many of the human world's main cities were destroyed, and it's a pity that their city lord seals were devoured by the aquatic beasts. Let's not let that happen again. It's quite a pity to lose so many cities. That's easy. Whoever takes it first gets it. Right now, 400 or so regions and many villages have been inundated, the Fanged Man said. The handsome-looking young man smiled as he said, "That's not a bad suggestion. The more you work, the more you get. This will increase our motivation to invade the human world. However, for the sake of fairness, no one can attack those villages. We'll deal with the human dams first." The fish-scale people all smiled and agreed with the other person's suggestion. After discussing in detail, they made a decision. After this battle, they had enough confidence that they could destroy the human world. The humans were like livestock to them, and they could kill them whenever they wanted. This was the reason why the fish-scale people were so confident. However, with the results of this battle, they indeed had the right to say this. Chapter 764. The sky was filled with stars, making it look like a river of stars. Even though there was no moon, the light was not weak, and it was possible to see things that were not too far away. After this battle, the humans' morale plummeted, and they were like defeated roosters. They lowered their heads and did not have any will to fight at all. Before, they did not know the fish-scale people's true strength, but after this battle, they understood just how terrifying the fish-scale people were in the water. By now, everyone was filled with fear towards the fish-scale people. If they could not overcome this fear, they might be defeated before they even fought against the fish-scale people. This crushing defeat shook the entire human world, and the entire human world felt an unprecedented sense of crisis. Ordinary residents started to feel terrified, and an uneasy feeling covered the entire human world. More and more people volunteered to head to the southern continent to defend against the invasion. At that moment, the various countries started to spread their patriotism, hoping to send more soldiers to defend against the invasion. Right now, there were only 1 billion people defending the southern dikes, and none of them had much confidence. At that moment, the fish scale people started to attack. Arrows shot out from the water towards the humans on the dikes. The humans were hit by the arrows, causing blood to fly everywhere. Pained cries sounded out in the beautiful night sky, and this was the start of a massive battle. Facing the countless arrows, the humans quickly reacted and raised their shields to defend. At the same time, the archers started to counterattack. The human soldiers hurriedly defended against the fish scale people's attacks, while the fish scale people calmly attacked. Their goal was not to take down the dikes, so they naturally would not attack. The archers acted as cover while the soldiers dove into the water and started to destroy the dikes that the humans had constructed. Because there were powerful barriers and all sorts of talismans around the dikes, the fish scale people swung their weapons, sending out terrifying cold lights as they attacked the dikes made of mud, rocks, and trees. There was a ray of light on the surface of the dam that blocked all of the attacks. This was the power of the barrier and talismans. Otherwise, a Stage 3 battle general would be able to pierce through the entire dam with a full-powered strike. Without the support of the barrier, the material of the dam itself was too weak. Of course, the barriers and talismans' power could not be maintained forever. Once they were attacked, they would gradually weaken and then be destroyed. As the fish scale people attacked, the light on the dikes dimmed. Seeing this, many people realized what was going on and cried out in terror. There's a fish scale people attacking the dikes. The human soldiers reacted, and the archers immediately shot powerful arrows towards the bottom of the dam. However, the fish scales were also prepared, and each of them carried a large shield. The arrows that came from above were shot 30 meters into the water, and their power was greatly reduced. Using the large shield to block the arrows from the human soldiers, they continued to destroy the barrier that the humans had set up. The fish scale people took advantage of the fact that the humans' attention was diverted to once again ferociously attack. Arrows filled the sky as many human soldiers were killed, and cries of pain and blood filled the air. As the countless fish scales attacked, the glow on the surface of the dam grew weaker and weaker. If this continued, the dam would definitely be destroyed by the fish scales. Above, the 10,000 city lords exploded out with their city lord seals, causing a heaven-shaking power to spread out, wanting to interfere. However, the fish scale world city lords were not just for show. They also exploded out with terrifying power, and a battle between city lords unfolded. Explosions tore through the sky, and the aura of destruction could be felt by more than half of the southern continent. By now, the humans had thought of how to deal with the fish scale people underwater, and they started to pour down a large amount of crystalline powder. This was ice powder, which had been used when the players had attacked Sheen City. It could quickly freeze the ground. As the ice powder fell, the water started to freeze at a speed visible to the naked eye, and traces of cold air rose up. The fish scale people underwater were given a big fright and quickly retreated, and some of the fish scale people who reacted too slowly were completely frozen. In just a short while, the water 50 meters in front of the dikes was covered with a thick layer of ice, and countless fish scale people were forced to retreat. The humans were naturally delighted. However, the fish scale people did not look too surprised. People wearing robes and holding coral staffs walked out, and countless soldiers gathered around them. The soldiers gave off powerful auras and sent their power into these people. These people raised their coral staffs and chanted incantations, causing an extremely dangerous aura to spread out. The seawater started to churn, and anyone with a discerning eye could tell that the fish scale people were using something incredibly terrifying. "Hurry and stop them," the Guardian General yelled, and everyone else looked terrified. They hurriedly drew their bows and shot toward the people in robes. However, the The fish scale people were prepared, and the fish scale soldiers holding reef shields easily blocked the humans' attacks. See God. At that moment, the people in robes roared as a massive aura spread out like a flood. The seawater condensed into thousands of 10,000-meter-long aquatic beasts that gave off terrifying auras as they charged towards the ice. Of course, these aquatic beasts could not compare to the aquatic beast king, but they were not weak either. The 50-meter-thick ice was instantly shattered, and countless pieces of ice flew everywhere. Following this, the aquatic beasts continued to smash towards the dikes, causing them to violently tremble, and the light they gave off became even dimmer. Boom! The aquatic beasts once again smashed into the dikes, causing countless cracks to appear on them. The barrier around the dikes had already been destroyed, and with just a light smash, the dikes would collapse. Hurry and retreat. Head to the second dikes. The Guardian General loudly ordered. Seeing that the situation was hopeless, everyone hurriedly used the teleportation channel to head to the defensive walls that had just been constructed. As the human army retreated, the fish scale people became even more fearless and attacked the dikes with all of their strength. Boom! A shocking explosion sounded out as the majestic dikes completely collapsed. Seawater flooded forwards, instantly inundating countless regions. They had been able to break through the humans' final defensive line without suffering many losses, and the fish scale people looked incredibly delighted. However, soon they received news that the humans had finished constructing the second dikes. This made the fish scale people feel quite surprised. The humans had already constructed the second dikes so quickly. However, they did not pay too much mind. They had already destroyed the first dikes so easily, so why would they be afraid of the second one? They had the confidence to easily destroy it. Chapter 765. The final battle was about to begin, and both sides were locked in a stalemate. After that battle, the humans had lost another 100 million humans, and there were only 900 million humans standing on the dam. The fish scale people were densely packed below, and there were roughly 3 billion of them. The fish scale people had not suffered many losses in the previous battle. The fish scale people were incredibly confident, and looking at the dam that was even more wretched than the first dam, they all looked quite disdainful and acted as if they had won. The Fang Man loudly laughed and pointed at Tina Pendragon as he said, "From now on, you're my woman. As long as you properly serve me, I won't eat you in the future. You're the most beautiful woman I've ever seen, and I want you to be my female slave. I'll do you every day." These words caused Tina Pendragon, who had a good temper, to feel quite angry, and she slightly frowned. The ugly fatty also loudly laughed as he said, "I'll also choose one then." Following this, the fatty pointed at Masanori Hano and said savagely, "From now on, you're my female slave. I don't want to say anything else, but if you're willing, I'll spare your lives. Otherwise, I'll skin you and use you as decorations." The enchanting woman coldly harumphed in dissatisfaction. The two things that she had wanted had been taken, but there were still some good ones among the remaining men. She pointed at CG and Jeffrey and said, "You two can become my male slaves as well. You humans don't have much hope of winning against us anymore. As long as you two become good male slaves, I'll guarantee your safety." The two people's words caused Masanori Hano and the others to feel quite angry. Masanori Hano's expression became cold, and CG and Jeffrey glared at the enchanting woman. "I'll give you all a final warning. Submit to the fish scale world, and you humans can be kept as slaves. Otherwise, your human race will go extinct." The white-haired elder said domineeringly as he stood with his hands behind his back. Tina Pendragon did not say anything as she slashed out a shocking golden sword light, dyeing the entire world golden as she attacked the white-haired elder and the others. This was the start of the battle. Seeing that the humans were not willing to surrender, the fish scale people started to attack. Countless arrows filled the sky as countless fish scale people dove into the water, preparing to destroy the barrier around the dam. 3 billion fish scale people were fighting against 900 million humans. Just in terms of momentum, the humans lost, and in terms of attack power, they were completely suppressed. However, the situation suddenly changed as large groups of fish-scale people coughed up blood and died. This caused countless people to feel incredibly shocked. The fish-scale city lord in the sky looked incredibly terrified, unable to understand what was going on. Why had so many of his soldiers suddenly died? The humans felt quite confused and did not understand what was going on, but the 20 or so people from the Southern Alliance, as well as C.G. Akhenaten's legatee, understood what was going on and smiled. Jeffrey heavily sighed, and Tina Pendragon fell silent. Masanori Hano had a big smile on her face as she looked at the ugly fatty with a pleased expression. This made the fish-scale people realize that they had fallen for a trap, but they were unable to do anything about it. Every second, tens of thousands of fish-scale people died, and countless fish-scale people's corpses floated to the surface of the water. They looked incredibly savage, and the fish-scale people present fell into boundless terror. At that moment, one of the fish-scale city lords realized what was going on and shouted, "This water contains intense poison." These words caused the fish-scale leaders' expressions to fall. They had never thought that the other side would use such insidious methods, and they immediately ordered their soldiers to use their cultivation to resist the poison. The countless soldiers hurriedly did as they were told, but it was completely useless. A fish-scale soldier coughed up blood as he yelled, "This poison is too powerful. We can't resist it at all." This caused the fish-scale leaders' hearts to sink. They could only allow their soldiers to leave the poisonous water, but they could not leave the water at all. They did not have the ability to fly, and ordinary city lords could only fly with their city lord seal's power. In just a few moments, 1.5 billion fish-scale people had been poisoned to death. The fish-scale leaders felt as if they were going to go crazy, and they yelled, "Attack the dikes. Only then can we leave the water." A black ray of light, giving off a massive aura, suddenly descended above the dikes. The sky became incredibly silent, and thousands of city lords appeared. This person's appearance caused the ugly fatty and the others' expressions to fall. Sensing his aura, they could tell that he was the person who had sealed the 8 aquatic beast kings. Seeing this person appear with countless city lords, the humans could not help but excitedly yell, "Legatee Qin! Legatee Qin! Legatee Qin!" Zhao Fu ignored their cries and took out 100 bottles. He opened them and threw them into the water. The thousands of city lords behind him also took out barrels of poison and poured them into the water. The soldiers on the dikes also started to pour poison into the water. Now that the poison was attacking from both the front and the back, even if the fish-scale people charged forwards and entered the poison water, they would be poisoned to death. The poison could directly seep through their skin. This was the human world's ultimate move, and only the higher-ups of the Alliance knew about it. It had been suggested by Zhao Fu, and he had personally carried out. He had secretly collected all of the human world's poisons in order to carry out this plan. 400 or so regions had been submerged, and the dikes that the humans had built had become an independent body of water. If the poison was thrown into the fish-scale world, because of how big it would definitely be diluted by the water. However, the dikes that the humans had built could ensure that the poison would be even more intense. This was because they had collected all of the human world's poisons, which was why they had such an effect. Moreover, most of these poisons had been refined by Zhao Fu using the 10,000 poison divine cauldron, making them even more terrifying. Because the 10,000 poison divine cauldron had refined so many poisons, it had leveled up to a level 2 Sane armament, the same level as the Sin Dragon sword. This was the reason why Tina Pendragon and the others had not appeared when the fish-scale people attacked the dikes. It was also one of the reasons why the human world had suffered such a great defeat. Their goal was naturally to lure the fish-scale people's forces into the human world and destroy them. In other words, they were using 600 million human lives to exchange for 3 billion fish-scale people's lives. However, the fish-scale people's ferocity still shocked Zhao Fu. If they did not use these methods, the humans definitely would not be a match for the fish scale people in the water. In a direct confrontation, the humans would definitely lose. The poison corroded the fish scale people incredibly quickly, and the fish scale people quickly died in terror and despair. The fish scale city lords were unable to do anything about this. Now, there were only 300 million fish scale people left, and the countless city lords could only give up on them. Now that they had lost, they could only run, and they all looked at Zhao Fu hatefully. Chapter 766. Zhao Fu rushed up and used the power of the Qin seal, giving off a terrifying aura. He killed a city lord with each strike, and the other city lords also chased after the fish scale city lords. The fish scale city lords could only run. After all, this was the humans' territory, and there were more city lords than them. Moreover, more city lords were continuously rushing over, and there were countless soldiers supporting them. As such, the fish-scale city lords could not stay here. After madly hunting, the human side had lost 100 or so city lords, but they had killed 4,000 or so city lords. Zhao Fu had killed 150 by himself and obtained 150 city lord seals. It was a pity that the city lord seals could only be obtained by entering the fish-scale world and obtaining cities. This was not an ordinary level of danger, especially when both sides were enemies. If they were discovered, they would be surrounded and attacked by the entire world. However, the fish scale side had lost 4,000 city lords and 3 billion people, which was a heavy blow to the other side. Now that they had taken a great blow, they most likely would not dare to do anything for a while. After killing the city lords, Zhao Fu looked at the countless corpses on the surface of the water, and he ordered the 10 million Qin soldiers he had brought to jump into the water to retrieve the corpses. All of the soldiers had water-repelling pearls, which could completely block out the water. The water-repelling pearls were much more effective than the water pearls, as the water pearls could not completely block out the poisonous water. Looking at the corpses, even if their equipment was only worth 1 gold coin, it would be worth 3 billion gold coins. Moreover, this set of equipment was worth at least 6 or 7 gold coins, and if he could obtain all of it, he would be able to obtain at least 18 billion gold coins. As expected, even though war was accompanied by massive risks, it also brought massive benefits. Apart from this, Zhao Fu was quite interested in the system main city soldiers' corpses. During the previous battle, Zhao Fu had secretly collected the 100 million system main city soldiers' corpses. He could only do this in secret, as if he was too obvious, he would be viewed with hostility by all of the southern side city lords. After all, these were their soldiers. Each system main city had sent out 500 soldiers. Even though 100 million people was a lot, after distributing the casualties, each system main city had suffered very few losses. If these soldiers were not very important to Qin, Zhao Fu actually wanted to bury them. After all, they had died to protect the human world. However, Qin really needed the rank 1 blood god pill. It was no longer possible to buy corpses outside the legacy land, so Qin had to obtain them himself. Everything was for Qin, and Zhao Fu didn't care about these things. As long as Qin could become strong, it didn't matter what he did. Many people watched as Qin fished out the corpses one by one. They immediately understood the value of the corpses, but they did not dare to go into the water. Just now, someone could not help but jump into the water to search for the corpses, but he was also poisoned to death. Now, they could only watch enviously as Qin's soldiers quickly put the corpses into their storage rings. The other city lords and legatees also understood the value of these corpses. Even though they had the power to fish up the corpses in the air with their prestigious statuses, how could they do something like that for 6 or 7 gold coins? Moreover, a single person would not be able to fish up much. Right now, the one who had benefited the most from this battle was definitely Qin, and Qin hadn't even sent a single soldier to fight. Only Qin's legatee had contributed a bit. Now that they had received such great benefits, many people felt quite dissatisfied, and many people looked at Zhao Fu with enmity. Legatee Qin, aren't you afraid of your conscience for taking so much in one go? One of the city lords said as he looked at his companions. If he was by himself, he would not dare to say anything in front of Zhao Fu. However, with the support of others, things were different. One of the Western Continent city lords said fearlessly, "That's right. You've taken all the benefits this time, and we've gotten nothing. Don't you think you're going too far?" Everyone else felt quite angry and looked at Zhao Fu with a trace of displeasure, and some people even looked at him with a trace of enmity. The system city lords moved further away for their own safety. Otherwise, if the southern continent was in danger of being destroyed, they definitely would not cooperate with players. They would not care about the players' lives or deaths. Now that the greatest danger had been resolved, there was no need for them to participate in the battle between players. This massive amount of wealth was not something that they cared about. The various dynasty legatees inwardly felt quite delighted and expressed their support for those who had spoken. They feared Qin too much, so of course they wanted to weaken him. Seeing such a massive amount of wealth fall into Qin's hands made them feel quite pained. Chapter 767. Before, there had been millions of fish-scale people guarding this place, but after hearing that the army at the front lines had all been killed and the city lords had escaped, they were all scared out of their wits and did not dare stay. Without the fish-scale people, the humans were able to destroy the barrier without any worries. Everyone started to destroy the barrier, and soon, the barrier that even Zhao Fu could not destroy was destroyed by the 900 million humans and the city lords. Following this, they destroyed the magic formations, and the boundless seawater finally stopped flowing into the human world. The human race's greatest crisis had been resolved. What about the poisonous water in the human world? That poisonous water is too poisonous, and once the dam collapses, the poisonous water will spread out. It will be even more terrifying than a flood, and leaving it in the human world will be a great threat. Akhenaten asked. After destroying the magic formations, everyone felt relieved. This made things difficult for everyone, as such a large amount of poisonous water would be incredibly difficult to deal with. Once it was leaked, it would be incredibly dangerous. A Japanese person said savagely, "This water came from the fish-scale world, and if we send it back, it will be enough to kill countless fish-scale people. Since the fish-scale people want to destroy us, we'll destroy them as well." A white-haired Chinese general glanced at him and said, "That's not very likely. At most, only a few people will die. After all, there is too much water in the fish-scale world, and the deepest places are hundreds of thousands of meters deep. Even if there is so much poisonous water, it will quickly be diluted and it won't kill many people. However, I've thought of a way to completely deal with the fish-scale people's invasion, and we won't have to worry about them doing anything." These words caused everyone to feel delighted, and they asked the general, "What is it?" The general smiled as he explained, "We can do this. Before, we were afraid that the second dam would be destroyed, so we prepared a large amount of ice powder and used it to quickly build a third dam. Great Qin's plan has been extremely successful, and they have successfully killed the invading fish-scale people with poison. We can use the remaining ice powder here to pour the poison into the fish-scale world before sealing it with ice to prevent the poison from leaking. We can create a poisonous ice region in the fish-scale world, and we can send people to stand guard there. Once the fish-scale people invade again, we can melt the poisonous ice, allowing the poison to quickly spread and kill all invading fish-scale people. Before, when comparing fish scales to humans' greatest weakness was that they couldn't breathe or live underwater. Now, when comparing humans to fish scales, the fish scales' greatest weakness was that they couldn't live underwater. We can use this to completely suppress them. These words made everyone understand, and they all agreed, starting to act according to the old general's plan. They started to set up magic formations, causing massive pillars of water to pour into the fish-scale world. Some city lords were responsible for sprinkling ice powder, and because so many people had died in the dams, the water became somewhat blood-red. At first, it was a blood-red island, but it gradually expanded. Not only did it bring with it a bone-chilling cold, but it also brought with it the danger of poisoning everything. Not only did countless sea beasts not dare to approach it, but even the small fish and prawns did not dare to take a step forward. All of them fled from where they were. The water that covered 400 or so regions could not be drained in an instant, and it would take a long time. The fish scale people were incredibly furious at what the humans had done, but they could not go any closer. The region was covered with poisonous water, and no one dared to get close. The city lords could fly over, but because 4,000 city lords had just died, none of them dared to get close. The human invasion had caused so many fish scale people and city lords to die, causing the entire fish scale world to be shaken. The various factions started to look at the humans in a different light, and they started to view them as dangerous. All sides knew about the war. The various forces that had led the invasion were condemned, and more than 20 of them were kicked out of their positions as leaders. The legatees did not have it easy either, as they had suffered the heaviest losses. Not only had their battle strength plummeted, but they had also lost morale. Even though they were the legatees, they were punished by the various elders of their families. The most important figure in this battle entered the eyes of all fish scale people. He was the Qin Empire's emperor, the person who had sealed the 8 aquatic beast kings, and the king with the most potential in the human world. He was the human world's world protector, the human world's most powerful faction, and the human world's most licentious ruler. With such a vicious reputation, as well as the fact that he had forcefully turned the situation around, he was listed as an extremely dangerous figure by countless fish scale factions. He was the fish scale people's greatest enemy, and he was someone that countless women had to be wary of. While the fish scale people were setting up the island, Zhao Fu had already finished collecting the corpses. There were 3 billion corpses, too. 5 billion players, and 500 million system main city soldiers. Apart from their equipment, there were also other items. Just the money that they had obtained from the corpses amounted to 5 billion gold coins, and Zhao Fu planned to take out 1 billion gold coins as a reward for the various factions. Adding on the equipment, items, and money, the total value of the corpses was 25 billion gold coins. This amount caused even Zhao Fu to feel shocked. He had never thought that he would have so much money before. Apart from the massive wealth, there were also the corpses. The 500 million fish scale people and the 100 million human corpses amounted to 600 million stage 1 corpses. With these corpses, the Qin Empire would not have to worry about having too many corpses in the next few years, which made Zhao Fu feel even more delighted. Moreover, they had poisoned 30% of the fish scale people, and even though they did not receive any EXP, their invasion points were all given to Zhao Fu. This time, Zhao Fu once again obtained a large number of invasion points. With the invasion points and the points from sealing the aquatic beast kings, Zhao Fu would be able to exchange for a capital city, which was another delightful matter. Zhao Fu could not stop smiling. His gains this time were simply too great, and he was pleasantly surprised. Following this, the various factions broke through the barrier and returned, and Zhao Fu gave them their rewards, causing them to cheer and feel incredibly happy. However, at that moment, Zhao Fu sensed something, and his expression fell. He hurriedly looked at his spatial ring and found that the countless City Lord seals had dimmed and lost all their luster. Seeing this, Zhao Fu could not help but sigh. There was only one reason why the City Lord seals had become like this, which was that the city had been conquered by someone else, and the city had become an advanced town. These City Lord seals naturally lost their power. Chapter 768. Now, Zhao Fu had 150 City Lord seals. To Qin, this was quite a large number, and they were incredibly important. However, they were all useless now, making Zhao Fu feel quite disappointed. It seemed that the fish scale people would rather destroy their cities than give them to the humans. Zhao Fu thought about how dangerous it was to relocate the cities to the fish scale world, as well as how difficult it would be to find the cities. This made Zhao Fu's disappointment slightly subside. He had already made shocking gains this time. It was best not to be too greedy and to be content with what he had. At that moment, the golden dragon suddenly said, These useless City Lord seals have special attributes and materials, and they can be considered precious treasures. It's best if you collect some. They'll be very useful in the future. Hearing the Golden Dragon's words, Zhao Fu felt quite curious. Useless City Lord seals were just useless stones to him. So what could they be used for in the Golden Dragon? The Golden Dragon explained that these City Lord seals could be used as special equipment, and they were incredibly powerful. One could also use a secret technique to fuse City Lord seals into beast bodies, allowing them to have a portion of the power of a region boss. After hearing this, Zhao Fu felt quite shocked. He had never thought that they would be useful like this. Now that his City Lord seal had lost its power, the other City Lord seals would also lose their power and become useless. Before, Zhao Fu had wanted to leave, but now he could talk to the other City Lords and ask for these useless City Lord seals. After some discussion, Zhao Fu was willing to use 100,000 gold coins to buy City Lord seal. To City Lords, 100,000 gold coins was not a small sum of money, and they were quite willing to trade a useless item for so much money. Here, there's no need for the money. Tina Pendragon came before Zhao Fu and smiled as she took out 30 or so City Lord seals and handed them to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu looked up at her and asked why. Tina Pendragon smiled as she replied, "This thing is useless to me, but it should be useful to you, so I'm giving it to you. It's all thanks to your special poison that the humans won so easily." Zhao Fu didn't care and simply replied, "This matter is also related to Qin's safety. I'm also helping Qin, so there's no need to be grateful." As he spoke, Zhao Fu took the City Lord seal and gave her a spatial ring filled with gold coins. "Crown Prince, this is for you. If the Northern Continent is in danger in the future, I'll need your help," Jeffrey said as he gave a bright smile. "Crown Prince." Masanori Hanno walked over and took out 10 or so City Lord seals and gave them to Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu received them one by one and smiled as he replied. He also gave them spatial rings filled with gold coins. Zhao Fu did not want to owe anyone any favors. Also, I made a mistake about that desolate blood mask before. It's not a nation armament, but something that surpasses Emperor Heaven armaments. I'm not sure what grade it is, but because the power it gives off is too terrifying, it was thought to be a nation armament. As such, I advise you to wait until the desolate blood mask is restored before making a decision. In actuality, your subordinate by Qi is the most suitable candidate. Do you remember the 7-kill steel? If you fuse the 7-kill steel into a capital city stone and give it to Bai Qi, who is the 7 murders general star, there will be unexpected effects. Hearing the Golden Dragon's words, Zhao Fu understood and could only delay the matter with Tuoba Qing. He took out the 7-kill steel and a berserk killing intent and a bloody aura spread out. It was incredibly powerful, and ordinary great cities wouldn't be able to suppress it. Great cities couldn't fuse with the 7-kill steel, or else the great city stone would be destroyed by the berserk killing intent. Perhaps some special great cities would be able to do this. However, right now, Zhao Fu didn't have any special great city stones, but the capital city stone's power was enough. After all, this was a capital city stone, and great cities could only become cities after leveling up to level 5. Chapter 769. In the end, Zhao Fu spent a great deal of effort to fuse them together, forming a blood-red cube that gave off a dense stench of blood and a berserk killing intent. Moreover, this capital city stone had been raised from gold grade to legendary grade. This made Zhao Fu feel quite surprised, and he couldn't help but look at its stats. 7 murders capital city stone. A normal capital city stone has been fused with a treasure that gives off a berserk killing intent, turning it into a special city stone. Its grade will also increase as it kills, and everyone that spawns will have innate killing power. This city stone has become an incredibly dangerous item and can only be used by special people. If an ordinary person uses its killing power that they cannot control, not only will they become a killing monster, but countless residents will also become killing monsters. The 7 murders capital city stone's killing power was quite powerful, and ordinary people would not be able to use it. Luckily, Bai Qi had the seven murders General Star's power, and he was the most suitable candidate to be the city lord. As such, there was no need for Zhao Fu to worry. "Your Majesty, what orders do you have?" Bai Qi respectfully bowed, and a trace of gentleness appeared on his cold face. This was something that ordinary people wouldn't be able to see, and Bai Qi would only show this side of him when he was alone with Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu smiled and nodded before handing the seven murders capital city stone to him. Bai Qi took it and looked at it, and a look of shock appeared on his face as he cupped his hands and said, "Thank you, Your Majesty, for your reward. All right, it's just the two of us, so there's no need to be so polite. Also, I want to see this seven murders capital city stone's power. Let's go together." Zhao Fu lightly smiled as he walked towards the door. Bai Qi nodded and followed behind Zhao Fu. Following this, the two of them went to the Yuanzhou province, which was Little Valley. Bai Qi went to an empty area and held the blood-red seven murders capital city stone as he pressed it against the ground. Boom! A blood-red energy exploded out, and the aura of killing and wreaking flooded out, turning into a shockwave that swept out, causing the ground to collapse. Chapter 770. Right now, Zhao Fu only had one powerful beast, which was the wyverns. Adult wyverns had stage 5 strength, and with their powerful dragon constitutions, if they fused with City Lord seals, the effects would be shocking. In actuality, wyverns could easily suppress low-grade creatures, but against high-grade creatures, they would be completely crushed. After all, wyverns themselves were quite trash, and they were the lowest grade dragons. Their stats were quite ordinary, and there was nothing powerful about them at all. With Zhao Fu's current standards, they were not good enough. Zhao Fu planned to use this opportunity to fuse with City Lord seals to cause their stats to mutate. After all, fusing with City Lord seals was a type of transformation, and it was quite easy for their stats to mutate. This required a place with large amounts of stats, and Zhao Fu thought of the ice and fire world in the depths of gloomy jungle. That would be able to satisfy the energy requirements of mutating their stats. After mutating their stats, they would definitely become even more powerful. They would not be able to compare to true ice dragons or fire dragons, but they would definitely be more powerful than the wyverns from before. Without even thinking about it, they would be able to help the wyverns evolve further. After such a long period of nurturing, Qi now had 1,527 wyverns, and 1,200 of them could fight. Looking at the 100-meter-tall dark forest and moon wolf, Zhao Fu smiled and had them return to their original sizes. Their 100-meter-tall bodies were their battle forms, and they could still change back to their original sizes. After returning to their original sizes, the two beasts affectionately looked at Zhao Fu, following which another figure leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace. It was a chubby white cat. Fat Cat had been by Salia's side, but after sensing the changes in the two beasts, it quickly ran over and leapt into Zhao Fu's embrace. It looked at Zhao Fu with teary eyes, looking as if it wanted to do the same. Zhao Fu smiled and sent a City Lord seal into its body before placing it on the ground and allowing it to slowly fuse with the City Lord seal. Following this, Zhao Fu took 1,200 wyverns and headed towards gloomy jungle. The sight of 1,000 dragons flying together was quite a rare sight, and the massive dragons might cause ordinary beasts to kneel on the ground and tremble in fear. However, facing such a powerful dragon's might, the Black Forest horses were quite weak. After all, their den had fused with a trace of divinity, and they had weak divinity buffs, making them much stronger than ordinary beasts of the same level. After going to the depths of gloomy jungle, there were exactly 1,200 wyverns. Zhao Fu had 600 wyverns climb on the icy ground and 600 enter the high-temperature region. He then sent 1,200 City Lord seals into their bodies, causing them to become like the Black Forest moonwolves. Their eyes were hollow as if they did not have souls, and their bodies were withered. Their bodies were withered, and seemed as if their blood was being sucked away. Their bodies were withered, and souls flowed into the dark. The wyverns took a bit longer to go through, as they also needed to change their attributes. Zhao Fu left and came back 3 days later. By then, the wyverns had completely gone through their transformations, and their appearances had greatly changed. Their gray scales had disappeared and were replaced by icy and fiery scales. Their bodies had become 150 meters long, and they gave off large amounts of cold and heat. Their auras had become even more powerful, and they were now at stage 0 to 8 or stage 0 to 9. Now, they would not be at a disadvantage against stage 7 dragons. This method of using City Lord seals was quite powerful. However, if it wasn't for the fact that the situation was quite special, who would be willing to destroy a great city just to obtain an abandoned City Lord seal? Now, Zhao Fu still had 2,297 City Lord seals, and he thought of another powerful creature, which was the Corpse Soul Commanders. Their strength had reached stage 5, and their Corpse Soul power was even stronger than ordinary stage 5 creatures. After fusing with City Lord seals, Zhao Fu wondered what would happen. Looking at the buffs the City Lord seals gave to the various creatures, Zhao Fu felt quite interested, and he looked at the changes in the Corpse Soul Commanders' bodies. By now, Zhao Fu had 7,400 Corpse Soul soldiers and 137 Corpse Soul Commanders, and Zhao Fu called over 137 Corpse Soul Commanders. The Corpse Soul Commanders were 6 meters tall and had gray skin. They had powerful and muscular bodies, and their eyes were blood red. They were filled with savagery and bloodlust, and just standing in front of them would cause anyone to feel fear. Zhao Fu stretched out his hand, and 137 City Lord seals floated around Zhao Fu, giving off faint lights. Zhao Fu pushed forwards, and the City Lord seals turned into rays of light that shot into the Corpse Soul Commanders' bodies. Roar! 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 3 hours later, massive roars tore through the sky as 137 terrifying monsters that were 70 meters tall appeared. The Corpse Soul Commanders looked quite terrifying, and their bodies gave off a gray aura. They had savage looks, and there was a bone horn on their heads. Their eyes were blood red, and they looked like ghosts. Their strength had reached stage 7, and they would be able to take on a basic City Lord without any problems. The Wyverns and Corpse Soul Commanders had become stronger, instantly increasing Qin's strength to a monstrous level. At that moment, Zhao Fu felt like sweeping through the northern side of the Midland continent. However, Zhao Fu's rationality told him to remain calm. After all, there were at least 7,000 City Lords and 600 million Stage 1 soldiers in 2,000 regions. Now, he only had 2,160 City Lord seals left. Zhao Fu did not care about ordinary Corpse Soul soldiers, and there were no wyverns that he could fight. As such, Zhao Fu planned to keep them for the Wyverns and Corpse Soul Commanders. Discarded City Lord seals were incredibly rare and difficult to obtain. After all, one had to destroy a great city in order to obtain a discarded City Lord seal, so it was easy to imagine how valuable it was. Zhao Fu did not want to use it carelessly. A few days later, the poisonous water from the dams flowed into the fish scale world, forming a massive island that covered 100 regions. Akhenaten and the Southern Sides factions built cities on it, and the fish scale people did not dare to invade anymore. After the poisonous water was completely drained, the gray ground was revealed. There was still poison lingering on the ground, and the countless trees and flowers had long since withered. The 400 or so regions had become regions of death without any signs of life. This would take some time for the world to recover, as the world had the ability to adjust itself. Zhao Fu went to the black spear that was stabbed into the ground. This was where Zhao Fu had sealed the 8 aquatic beast kings, and Zhao Fu had come here with the intention of subduing the aquatic beast kings. The aquatic beast kings were incredibly powerful, and if they could submit, Qin's strength would once again greatly increase. Back then, Zhao Fu had used up half of Qin's fate, so he had to make up for it. Otherwise, it would have been too much of a waste. Zhao Fu gripped the black spear, and the 1,000-meter wide Emperor's seal once again appeared on the ground. Zhao Fu's body slowly sank down and came to a massive space. This was the sealed space which was also called the god's sealing space. It was the ability of the king's crown. Chapter 771. Looking at the 8 furious aquatic beast kings, Zhao Fu did not show any mercy. He stretched out a hand and pressed against the air, causing the chains binding the 8 aquatic beast kings to tighten. The 8 aquatic beast kings felt immense pain and became a bit more obedient. If you don't want to stay here forever, you can only submit to me. Don't have any delusions. It's impossible for you to escape. Zhao Fu spoke in the fish scale language. As the 8 aquatic beast kings guarding the fish scale world, their intelligence was not low, and they could understand Zhao Fu's words. Now that the boss monsters could speak, these 8 aquatic beast kings could as well. The heaven cloud jellyfish was the first to speak, and it was a mature woman's voice. Human, don't even think about making me submit to you. Keep dreaming. The sin flood dragon spoke in a hoarse, old man's voice as it wildly laughed. Human, you're dreaming if you want to subdue us. Even the fish scale world's world protector can't do it. So do you think the human world's world protector can? What a joke. The Netherocian demon whale spoke in a cold, male voice. After I break the seal, I'll definitely eat you. You humans' flesh is much more delicious than the fish scale people's. I'll properly enjoy your flesh and eat all of you humans. Hearing their words, Zhao Fu's expression became cold, but he did not say anything. Instead, he continued to draw magic formations and ignored them. The earth water dragon tortoise spoke in an ancient voice. Human, if you let me go, I can promise that I will never step into the human world again, and the enmity between us will be written off. The Sif metal stingray also spoke in a boy's voice. I'm also willing to promise that I will never step into the human world again. If you let me go, I'll give you the city lord seals and city creation stones I've devoured. I'm sure you humans need them, right? The ghost scale flame bird spoke in a woman's voice. If you let me go, I can promise that I will never step into the human world again, and I'll give you all of the 60 or so city creation stones I've devoured. You 3 have no backbone. As the fish scale world's kings, how could you submit to a human and even make an agreement with him? Another man's voice sounded out. It was the 3-soul great snake's voice. Humph! I will never submit to a human. Kill me if you can. The reef lizard let out a wild female voice. At that moment, the ghost scale flame bird and the 3-soul great snake started arguing. The ghost scale flame bird coldly harumphed and said, I didn't give in. It's just a deal. I don't want to be trapped here forever. If you want to stay here forever, don't drag me down with you. The 3-soul great snake loudly laughed. You still dare to say that you haven't submitted? You promised not to step into the human world, which means that you've submitted to this human and are afraid of him. Just as the earth water dragon tortoise was about to say something, Zhao Fu had already finished carving the magic formation. Then he inserted a few crystals into it and coldly glanced at the 8 sea beast kings before instantly activating the magic formation. Chi. Countless ferocious arcs of lightning followed the chains and struck the bodies of the 8 aquatic beasts, causing intense pain and causing them to roar. Suddenly, the arcs of lightning stopped, and before the 8 aquatic beasts could even take a breather, flames started to burn their bodies, causing them to once again roar in pain. Following this, countless wind blades slashed at their bodies, and icy chi froze them. There were also metal needles continuously stabbing into their bodies. After this, the 8 aquatic beasts were covered with wounds, and their blood dyed the chains red. They also dripped to the ground, looking quite wretched. I'll say it again. Are you willing to submit or not? Otherwise, you'll be punished like this every day. Zhao Fu didn't care at all. These aquatic beasts just wanted to be punished. Zhao Fu didn't have the ability to convince them with words, so he could only use cruel punishment to make them submit. If they submitted, the city creation stone and city lord seal within their bodies would belong to Zhao Fu. However, after enduring the immense pain, the 8 sea beast kings roared at Zhao Fu, wanting to eat Zhao Fu. How could they be willing to surrender? However, Zhao Fu did not mind, as he had more time to waste with them. After leaving the sealed region, Zhao Fu once again returned to Qin City. He asked around and found that no one had any intentions of invading the fish-scale world. This made Zhao Fu feel quite disappointed, as Zhao Fu still wanted to use invasion points to exchange for capital cities. This was incredibly important to Qin City, as Qin City already had a capital city and was only 2 away from becoming a royal city. Using invasion points to exchange for capital cities would be much faster than leveling up, and it was definitely the fastest method. However, even if they didn't want to invade, Zhao Fu didn't dare to either. Even if Qin City sent out all of its forces, they would have to face the entire fish-scale world, and they would definitely be wiped out. However, Zhao Fu understood how difficult it would be to invade the fish-scale world. They live hundreds of meters underwater, and if humans wanted to attack them, they would have to go underwater. However, if humans went underwater, they would not be a match for the fish-scale people at all. This was why countless people did not want to invade the fish-scale world. They remembered the lesson from last time, and once they entered the fish-scale world, they would become the fish-scale world's territory. Who knew how many fish-scale people would attack? As such, Zhao Fu could only give up on invading by himself, as it was unrealistic. However, Zhao Fu wanted to go to the fish-scale world to reap a fortune before running back. He would never go back to the fish-scale world again. Zhao Fu had used this method before, which was when he had destroyed 50 system main cities in a single night. He had split 10 or so city lords into teams and quickly attacked system main cities before quickly leaving. In the human world, Zhao Fu would not dare to do this, as Qin City was here. If he did this, he would be a threat to too many people and would be attacked from countless regions. Right now, Qin City did not have enough strength to defend against everything. However, things were different in the fish-scale world. After doing these things, Zhao Fu could hide in the human world, and they would not be able to take revenge on Qin City unless they attacked again. However, Zhao Fu had the entire human world to defend against them, so he did not have to worry about Qin City's safety at all. However, this method could only be used once to catch them off guard, and it definitely would not work a second time. After all, they had already been alerted, and if they acted again, it would be incredibly dangerous. Apart from this, Zhao Fu also had to obtain a map of the system main cities. He had to make preparations beforehand so that he could hunt down city lords and escape. After making some preparations, Zhao Fu stealthily entered the fish-scale world and scouted around. Only after a long time did he find a system main city. If he did not make preparations, his original plan would not work, as it would take a long time to find a system main city. Chapter 772. After a few days, Zhao Fu stealthily made a map of the system main cities and started to move. Now, there were 500 or so city lords in Qin City, and in order to quickly kill the fish-scale city lords, Zhao Fu did not want anything unexpected to happen. As such, he split the 20 city lords into teams and were responsible for attacking a region city lord. They could attack together to quickly kill the city lord and relocate the city, or they could split into 2 teams of 10 and attack 2 cities at the same time. After all, the 20 city lords' task was to destroy a few great cities in a region. After doing this, they could not be greedy and immediately return to the human world. After all, staying there for even a moment longer would be dangerous. The 500 or so city lords could split into 25 teams and destroy 25 regions. Not only would they be able to obtain cities, but they would also be able to obtain large invasion points. In order to ensure their safety, Zhao Fu prepared many things. The first was an isolation barrier, which would temporarily seal off teleportation channels to prevent information from leaking out. The second was something to hide their auras, and the third was to give each team 2 destruction crystals to prevent anything unexpected from happening. After making all of these preparations, everyone stealthily entered the fish-scale world and silently waited. They had to move at the same time so that they could destroy 25 regions as quickly as possible. Once news of this was leaked out and other city lords came, many of Zhao Fu's city lords would die here. As such, they could not afford to be careless at all, and they had to fight a lightning-fast battle to quickly return. Zhao Fu came to a system main city and silently waited. Right now, Zhao Fu could not reveal his identity, or else he would be in great danger. Zhao Fu did not have the power to defend against the entire fish-scale world, and if he could not use the other city lords' power, even if 50 or 60 city lords joined together, Zhao Fu would not be able to defeat them. Time gradually passed, and because they were hundreds of meters underwater, the sunlight was quite weak. The system main cities had their own lighting formations, so it was always daytime in the system main cities. No creature would be energetic all day and night and never rest. Of course, the fish-scale people were resting, and Zhao Fu had been waiting for this moment. Then, it was time to take action. All the city lords of Qin City launched their attacks at the same time. Zhao Fu rushed into the city lord's mansion directly. The city lord sensed Zhao Fu and woke up, but Zhao Fu had already arrived in front of him. Not only was Zhao Fu wearing a cloak, but all of the city lord were also wearing cloaks to prevent their identities from being revealed. The fish-scale city lord held a reef spear as he furiously asked Zhao Fu, "Who are you?" Zhao Fu did not waste any words with him. He rushed up and slashed towards the fish-scale city lord with a shocking sword light. Sensing Zhao Fu's power, the fish-scale city lord's expression fell, and he exploded out with his full strength. He gripped his spear with both hands and held it in front of him, but he was still sent flying. He heavily crashed against a wall, and a sword light pierced through his chest. The fish-scale city lord instantly died, and a city lord's seal floated out of his corpse. Zhao Fu grabbed the city lord's seal and hurried towards the city hall. The fish-scale city was in chaos, and teleportation channels were no longer usable, so a large number of soldiers gathered at the city hall. By now, Zhao Fu had already rushed into the city hall. He did not want to waste any time, and he did not even look at the system announcements before choosing to relocate the city. He turned into a ray of black light and shot into the sky, heading towards the next system main city. Zhao Fu once again charged into the city hall, and a general was the first to discover Zhao Fu. He raised his weapon and roared as he rushed over, but Zhao Fu disdainfully slashed out, slashing the general's body into many pieces. Back then, Zhao Fu could not even defeat a general, and he had to risk his life to fight a system main city and even use his nation armament. However, things were different now. Let alone generals, even city lords could not resist much against Zhao Fu. After killing this city lord, Zhao Fu quickly relocated the city before turning into a ray of light and disappearing into the sky. A while later, Zhao Fu had already destroyed 4 system main cities and obtained a region treasure chest. Zhao Fu had completed the quest to destroy a region, and he felt that he should not be too greedy. However, his body could not help but head to a second region. In actuality, Zhao Fu wanted to throw a destruction crystal at a system main city, which would be able to kill at least 300,000 people. There were rewards for killing fish-scale people, whether they were fish-scale players or indigenous residents. Back then, they had flooded 400 or so regions and drowned all living creatures. Their plan had obtained a massive number of invasion points, and Zhao Fu wanted to use the destruction crystal to blast these fish-scale people to death. However, even though Zhao Fu wanted to do this, the shockwaves from the destruction crystal were too great. If he used it, it would reveal information and attract the attention of the city lords, and his plan would fail. A while later, Zhao Fu destroyed 3 system main cities in the second region. It was best not to be too greedy, and even though Zhao Fu felt that way, his body could not help but head to the third region. Zhao Fu had obtained 7 system main cities in one go. This method of obtaining cities was simply too fast, and he felt quite excited. After destroying the third region's 2 system main cities, Zhao Fu quickly escaped because he had sensed many dangerous auras heading towards the third region. In the end, his plan had been discovered. The hundreds of city lords looked furious and ferociously chased after Zhao Fu. However, they were unable to keep up with Zhao Fu's speed, and in the end, Zhao Fu was able to escape. Following this, Thousands of city lords gave off furious auras as they stood in the sky above the island of ice. Their terrifying power made it difficult for people to breathe, and it was incredibly terrifying. Akhenaten immediately received news that the fish-scale city lord had suddenly attacked the island of ice, and the southern continent's city lords hurried over as well. Neither side could do anything to the other, and the fish-scale city lords did not want to start war either. After all, their soldiers could not get close to the island of ice, and they were not a match for the humans on land. Even though they were amphibious and could breathe on the water, they spent most of their time in the water. Their bodies were used to swimming, and once they walked on land, their battle strength would plummet. They knew this very well. The humans needed soldiers to support them, and even if thousands of city lords rushed over, the outcome would be the same as last time. They were mainly here to threaten the humans and show that they were not people who could be easily bullied. After all, both sides were enemies, so they could not do anything about the humans suddenly attacking them. After a while, the fish-scale city lords left, and the southern continent city lords felt quite confused. They completely understood what had happened. Only after a while did they obtain information from the spies they had planted in the fish-scale world that an unknown human faction had instantly destroyed 27 regions. This news caused the southern continent city lords to feel quite shocked. They had never thought of invading the fish-scale world, and they had never thought that some faction would be able to destroy 27 regions in such a short period of time. If they had a bit more time, things would be quite terrifying. Chapter 773. After returning to Qin City, Zhao Fu grinned as he went through his gains. He had obtained 85 system main cities in total. These system main cities belonged to the fish-scale people, so of course humans couldn't use them. However, the exchange stone steel had primordial potions that could restore the system main cities to their original state. After thinking about it, Zhao Fu gave up on this idea. After this experience, it was quite difficult for creatures on land to defeat creatures in the water. Zhao Fu wanted to nurture some fish-scale people so that they would be of great use in battles in the future. Qin City did not go close to the ocean, but there were many bodies of water. However, most of them were freshwater, so Zhao Fu decided to go to the fish-scale world and capture some fish-scale people. He would first make them city lords and have the system main city spawn new fish-scale people. When there were more fish-scale people, he would find suitable city lords and nurture some Navy soldiers in Qin City. The second reward was the 27 region treasure chests. Zhao Fu opened them all and obtained some materials and equipment. Zhao Fu did not care too much about these things, but what made Zhao Fu feel quite delighted were the other things. One of them was a great city upgrade stone. Right now, Zhao Fu had 3 great city upgrade stones. 2 of them had been obtained from 70 or so region treasure chests, and 1 had been obtained from 35 region treasure chests. Adding on this great city upgrade stone, he now had 4. With these 4 city upgrade stones, Zhao Fu would be able to directly level up his city to a level 5 great city, and he could then use the EXP to level it up to a capital city. Great city upgrade stones could only level up great cities, and they could not level up great cities to capital cities. Just like that, Zhao Fu had completed the matter of another capital city. The EXP required to level up a level 5 great city to a capital city was much easier to gather than leveling up a capital city. Now, he only needed 1 more capital city to level up to a royal city, making him feel quite excited. Zhao Fu was quite conflicted about which city to upgrade to a level 5 city. There were 2 main choices, the Peacock City and the Fire and Ice cities. The Ice and Fire cities were energy cities, and they were more powerful than ordinary system main cities. This was especially so with Binoche and Karash as city lords, allowing them to unleash the full power of the Ice and Fire cities. However, the cities were only gold grade, which was quite lacking compared to capital cities. The Peacock City was the Peacock Empire's legacy city. It was a legendary grade city, but Zhao Fu was slightly bothered. It was another country's legacy city. However, in terms of stats and power, The Maurya city was definitely more powerful than the Ice Fire city because it was the legacy city of India's most powerful dynasty. Zhao Fu decided to make the Maurya city the capital city. Zhao Fu thought of Shama's little sister, Daphne, and because of their bloodline, she was the most suitable candidate. However, Zhao Fu had to consider battles, so Zhao Fu had to see if she was suitable. Apart from the city upgrade stones, there were also 3 dragon-slaying ballistae. She now had 8 dragon-slaying ballistae. There was also another item that was quite special. It was a tricolored piece of soil that had been kneaded into a ball. It gave off a faint fragrance, and Zhao Fu looked at its description. Item reshaping soil. A mystical type of soil that can change an item's original shape and reshape it without any changes to its stats. This was something that could change an item's shape. The first thing that Zhao Fu thought of was the King's Crown. Now that the King's Crown was legendary grade, if he could subdue the 8 aquatic beast kings and absorb their king's aura, the King's Crown would become epic grade. The King's Crown's benefits went without saying, and Zhao Fu often used it. It was definitely the best item for sealing people. However, it was a Western type of crown, and Zhao Fu did not like it. Since he could change its shape, what should he change it to? For example, a sword or some other weapon. Zhao Fu thought about it and decided that Zhao Fu already had enough swords, so he did not need any more. Moreover, changing its shape did not mean that it would change its stats. Swords were for attacking, while the King's Crown was for support. After thinking about it for a while, Zhao Fu made his decision. He took out the King's Crown and used the soil. The tricolored soil fused into the King's Crown, and the tough King's Crown slowly softened before crumpling into a ball. Zhao Fu followed his thoughts and started to change the King's Crown's shape until it became a golden eyeball. Apart from being golden and seeming to be made of metal, it looked just like a normal eyeball. Holding the eyeball, Zhao Fu gave a satisfied smile and fused it into his left eye. His left eye, which had been unlocked, gently accepted the golden eyeball. Roar! Suddenly, a massive beast's roar sounded out in Zhao Fu's mind, and he felt as if his head was going to explode. His mind went blank as a massive demon beast covered in chains and a human head giving off golden light appeared in Zhao Fu's mind. Blood continuously flowed out of Zhao Fu's left eye as if it was going to be ripped apart. Zhao Fu inwardly cursed at how stupid he was. How come he had suddenly thought of fusing the King's Crown in his eye when he had nothing better to do? The intense pain in his eye made Zhao Fu feel helpless, and he could only use his hand to cover his left eye. The blood that flowed out from his left eye seeped through his fingers. Within Zhao Fu's mind, countless traces of blood flowed out from his surroundings towards the God-sealing beast. The God-sealing beast furiously struggled and roared, but in the end, it was drowned by the blood. Whether it was the massive God-sealing beast or the golden skull, they both disappeared. At that moment, the pain in Zhao Fu's eye gradually weakened, and Zhao Fu could barely open his eye. He found that the golden eyeball had completely fused with his left eye, and he could no longer take it out. Before, Zhao Fu's eyes had 3 layers of pupils. 2 were blood red and 1 was white. Now that his left eye had fused with the golden eyeball, his left eye had 4 layers. Apart from the blood red and white, there was also a golden color. The blood red color was different from the blood red color of killing and the white color of gentleness, and the golden color gave off a trace of nobility. Before, when Zhao Fu had fused with the demon god's nature, his eyes had become vertical. Now that he had fused with the golden eyeball, Zhao Fu's left eye had once again become circular, and the 4th layer was golden. However, the outer layer was like a thin golden chain that formed a circle. Zhao Fu's left eye still looked quite terrifying, and the 3 auras fused together gave off a powerful pressure. Ordinary people would not dare to look at it directly. Zhao Fu's right eye still had 3 vertical pupils. 2 were blood red, and 1 was white. What shocked Zhao Fu even more was that he could use some of the God-sealing beast power. This power was not from the King's Crown, but from Zhao Fu himself. In other words, Zhao Fu had obtained the God-sealing beast power. Chapter 774. After a while, Zhao Fu calmed himself down. This was what he had obtained from the treasure chest in Region 27. Now, it was time for the invasion points. Conquering a fish-scale main city gave 1 million invasion points, and after conquering 85, Zhao Fu obtained 85 invasion points, which gave him 85 invasion points. After coming to the exchange, Stone Steel, Zhao Fu was surprised to find that the capital city section was grayed out. After trying out, he found that he could not exchange for another capital city. This made Zhao Fu feel quite disappointed. Before, Zhao Fu had wanted to exchange for another capital city. That way, he would be able to level up to a royal city, and once Qin City leveled up, he would be able to become a royal city. However, he had never thought that there would be a restriction. However, there was nothing he could do about this. Luckily, there were still many things that Zhao Fu wanted on the exchange stone steel, and he had enough great city upgrade stones for now. Zhao Fu now had two choices. One was the dragon-slaying ballistic blueprint. With this blueprint, Zhao Fu would be able to mass-produce dragon-slaying ballistic. With how powerful the dragon-slaying ballistic were, this was an incredibly tempting option. The second choice was the 10,000 Blood God Stone. The Corpse Soul Den could nurture 100 Corpse Soul soldiers and 5 Corpse Soul commanders every day, and each Corpse Soul soldier was at stage 4. Being able to nurture 100 Corpse Soul soldiers at once was quite tempting. In the end, Zhao Fu chose to exchange for the 10,000 Blood God Stone. The dragon-slaying ballistic blueprint required epic-grade materials, and Qin City was already quite rare, so it was quite difficult to obtain suitable materials. Moreover, this was an epic-grade item, and only the highest-grade forgers could forge it. Even though Qin City wanted to mass-produce it, it was not quite possible. As such, exchanging for the 10,000 Blood God Stone was the best choice. The 10,000 Blood God Stone was a blood-red stone that was as big as a watermelon. It gave off a dense stench of blood, and Zhao Fu placed it into the Corpse Soul Blood Lake. The Corpse Soul Blood Lake could nurture 100 Corpse Soul soldiers and 5 Corpse Soul commanders every day, but this would consume a lot of corpses. Zhao Fu did not mind, as he had the most corpses. The final reward was the EXP from conquering 85 system main cities, which allowed the Great Qin City to level up into a level 4 capital city. Next were the stats. Village name, Qin City, Epic, Level 4 capital city village area, 124,400 square kilometers village territory, 842,180 square kilometers popular support, 86 special attributes, territory crop yield plus 230%, territory crop growth time minus 230%, population limit plus 150%, resident attributes plus 17, soldier attributes plus 18%, population attraction plus 170%, high-grade attraction plus 170%. Subsidiary village limit, 196930 owned villages. Logue Village, Jean Village, Dorn Village, Lee Village, Wolf Village, Tiger Village. Now that it had been upgraded to a level 4 great city, there were only 2 levels left before it could be upgraded to a king city. Although 500 million EXP was a huge amount, Zhao Fu could not help but feel excited. There were only 2 more steps left before Qin could restore his country. Following this, Zhao Fu once again stealthily entered the fish scale world. This time, he did not go too deep and only found a village in the wilderness. He brought back 100 fish-scale indigenous residents and had them enter the lake to see if they could live there. In the end, there were no problems. To them, having water was enough, and there was no need to divide it between fresh and salt water. Zhao Fu gave the system main cities to them, and they built new cities in the lake. By now, it was January, the 3rd year in the Heaven Awakened world. It had been a good year, but because of the fish scale people's invasion, it was time to make up for it. Time passed quite quickly. The first year had been a bit slower because there were all sorts of activities, and the second year had been incredibly busy. Zhao Fu did not even notice that another year had passed. Now that it was the 3rd year, Zhao Fu did not have much to do in the Heaven Awakened world, so he returned to the real world. By now, the real world had become even more chaotic. Prices were rapidly rising, and crime was incredibly common. However, this was not something that Zhao Fu wanted to deal with, as Zhao Fu did not have the time to maintain world peace. After returning to the real world, it was already nighttime. Zhao Fu still did not see Zheng Yuqin, and he did not know what was going on. Because he was too hungry, Zhao Fu did not think too much about it, and sat at the table, picked up his bowl and chopsticks, and started wolfing down the food. After eating, Zhao Fu opened his computer and found that there was nothing to do. Just as Zhao Fu was about to rest in the real world, he received a phone call. Zhao Fu looked down and saw that it was Dong Suzhen, his former teacher at the university. Zhao Fu felt quite confused because their relationship was quite ordinary. Because she had shown some concern for Zhao Fu had contacted her and chatted with her for a bit before leaving her his number. Dong Suzhen normally would not call Zhao Fu if there was nothing important. Zhao Fu felt quite confused, but he still picked up the call. Immediately, he heard cries, "Hurry and save me. I'm at the South Lake Hotel." Zhao Fu felt quite startled, and just as he was about to say something, a noise sounded out, as if a phone had fallen to the ground. A few men's lewd laughter sounded out. "Teacher Dong, why don't you join us tonight and have some fun? We know you're a lecherous woman, so don't try to act innocent." After that, there was no more sound. A scene appeared in Zhao Fu's mind, and he immediately made a call. Of course, Zhao Fu knew about the South Lake Hotel. It was the most luxurious hotel in the area. After all, Zhao Fu had stayed in Nanshur City for 2 years, so he definitely knew about these places. Nanshur City was also within the Ying family's sphere of influence. Zhao Fu just had to make a call, and the matter would be easily resolved. However, it was also possible that if they were slow, Teacher Dong might be gang-raped by a few people. Thinking about Dong Suzhen's dignified and beautiful appearance, Zhao Fu still wanted to know the outcome, so he waited in the real world for a while. After a while, Zhao Fu received a call. His expression slightly darkened as he sat on the sofa and waited. 2 hours later, a few bodyguards brought Dong Suzhen, whose face was covered in tears and fear, in front of Zhao Fu. When Dong Suzhen saw Zhao Fu, the only person she knew, she felt slightly more at ease. Then, when she saw that all the men in black were listening to him, Dong Suzhen also understood. "Zhao Fu, did you send someone to save me?" Zhao Fu nodded and looked at Dong Suzhen in front of him. Dong Suzhen's hair was in a mess, and there were a few paw marks on her face. She was wearing a suit on the outside, but there was nothing on the inside. That suit was evidently a bodyguard's, and it seemed that they had almost succeeded. Dong Suzhen's eyes were moist as she gratefully said, "Thank you for saving me. I made a random call just now, but I didn't expect it to be you." Chapter 775. Hearing this, Dong Suzhen finally calmed down, and her emotions stabilized as she earnestly nodded. By now, the bodyguards had brought 7 young men in front of Zhao Fu. The 7 young men stood by the side with bruised faces, and 6 of them wore ordinary clothes. They looked terrified and trembled as they looked around. The other young man was wearing expensive clothes and had an arrogant look on his face as he said, "Do you know who I am? I'm the young master of the Nanshur group. If you dare to treat me like this, you're dead." Zhao Fu couldn't help but lightly laugh as he said, "It's been a long time since anyone has dared to act so impudently in front of me." Even though Zhao Fu was smiling as he spoke, the bodyguards felt a chill in their hearts. They understood how much power Zhao Fu had, and it was evident that he was quite angry. The young master of the Nanshur group was doomed. Not only would he die, but his entire family would also die. How should the acting family leader deal with these 7 people? One of the captains mustered up his courage and asked. Zhao Fu's smile faded as he said, "Drag them out and kill them." "Yes." The bodyguards obeyed and prepared to drag the 7 people out and kill them. They were not ordinary bodyguards, but the Ying family's private soldiers, and they would obey all of the Ying family's orders. Hearing that Zhao Fu was going to kill them, the 6 people's faces paled and they knelt on the ground as they begged. "We're innocent. Big brother, please spare us. It was young Master Xiao who ordered us to do this. We wouldn't dare to do this." Hearing Zhao Fu's words, the arrogant young man had a look of disbelief on his face. However, seeing that the bodyguards really wanted to kill him, he cried out in terror, "You can't kill me. I'm the young master of the Nanshur group. If you dare to kill me, the Nanshur group definitely won't let you off." Before young Master Xiao could finish speaking, one of the bodyguards punched him in the abdomen, causing him to fall to the ground. He hugged his abdomen with his hands and curled up on the ground. The bodyguards were about to drag the 7 people out and kill them. The 6 people next to them were so scared that they cried and continued to beg for mercy, hoping that Zhao Fu would let them go. However, Zhao Fu's expression did not change. He had killed countless people, so he did not care about the lives of these 7 people. "Zhao Fu, are you really going to kill them?" Dong Sujin looked at Zhao Fu in disbelief and asked. She didn't expect that her shy and introverted student would become so cold-blooded, saying that killing someone was as easy as waving his hand. Only now did Dong Sujin realize that Zhao Fu had changed a lot. He now had a noble and dignified air about him. This was definitely the air of someone at the very top. Was he really the Zhao Fu she knew? Dong Sujin found it hard to believe. Zhao Fu turned to look at Dong Sujin, nodded lightly, and asked, "Why not kill them?" Hearing that Zhao Fu was definitely going to kill them, Dong Sujin, who lived in a society governed by law, could not react in time. However, she couldn't help but say, "Zhao Fu, you should let them go or send them to the police station." That young Master Xiao was the little brother of one of her students, and that student had a special relationship with her. Dong Sujin was quite unwilling to kill that person's little brother. Moreover, Nanshur Group was incredibly powerful, and it was the largest group in Nanshur City. The power it possessed far exceeded what ordinary people could imagine, and Dong Sujin deeply understood how terrifying it was. As such, she didn't want Zhao Fu to cause any trouble. Even though Zhao Fu had a high status and many people listened to him, Dong Sujin was quite worried that something big would happen. Zhao Fu looked at Dong Sujin and didn't seem to care much about the lives of these 7 people. He casually said, "Lock them up." The bodyguards dragged the 7 people away, and Dong Sujin let out a sigh of relief. At that moment, Zhao Fu said, "Teacher Dong, I'll get someone to prepare some clothes for you. Go and have a good rest. You don't need to worry about these things." Dong Sujin lightly nodded and prepared to leave with a female servant. "Lil Fu, what happened?" Zheng Yuqin, who had been sleeping soundly, was woken up by what had happened. She opened the door and asked Zhao Fu. When she saw that Dong Sujin was also here, she looked quite shocked. Dong Sujin had never thought that she would meet Zheng Yuqin here. Because they were both from the same university, Dong Sujin's relationship with Zheng Yuqin was quite good. At the very least, it was better than her relationship with Zhao Fu. After the 2 women met, they started to talk a lot. Dong Sujin temporarily stayed at Zhao Fu's villa, and Zheng Yuqin brought her to her room. Just as Zhao Fu was about to enter the Heaven Awakened world, a bodyguard came in and reported, "Nanshur Group's chairman wants to see him." So soon, Zhao Fu was quite surprised and nodded to let her in. One of them looked to be in his 30s. He was dressed in a professional black suit and had short hair. His face was exquisite and he looked capable. He had the temperament of someone in a high position. "Hello, Mr. Zhao. I'm Nanshur Group's chairman and Xiao Yuanmei's mother, Zhang Hongmei," Zhang Hongmei said as she gave a trace of a smile. Zhao Fu calmly sat on the sofa and said, "You're here for your son, right? There's no need to say anything else. You can go back now." Zhang Hongmei had long since expected Zhao Fu to immediately reject her. After hearing about this, she knew who she was going to face. "Mr. Zhao, I won't waste any more words. I'm willing to give you 30% of my company's shares as long as you let my son go." Zhao Fu disdainfully laughed as he said, "Do you think I care about that bit of money? I don't care about all of Nanshur Group's shares at all. Also, you should be worried about Nanshur Group's safety. When the time comes, it's hard to say whether it will still exist." This caused Zhang Hongmei's expression to fall. Zhao Fu wanted to destroy Nanshur Group, and pull it up by its roots. Even though she didn't want to admit it, Zhao Fu had the ability to do so. After thinking about the terrifying consequences, Zhang Hongmei's heart became cold. She gritted her teeth and made a decision. She suddenly squatted under Zhao Fu and started to service him under Zhao Fu's confused gaze. Following this, Zhao Fu also started to do it with Zhang Hongmei's body. Within the room, Zheng Yuqin and Dong Suzhen heard this, and their faces became red. Zheng Yuqin angrily cursed at Zhao Fu, while Dong Suzhen's face was red and she didn't know what to say. Afterwards, Zhang Hongmei left Zhao Fu's villa. She couldn't hold back her tears, but she held them back and wiped them away. After coming to a dark dungeon, young Master Shao looked at his mother in delight and cried out, "Mom, I knew you would come back to save me. I knew you would come back to save me. Those people actually dared to hit me." Pa! A slap landed heavily on young Master Zhao's face. Young Master Shao was also stunned. He never thought that his mother would hit him. "If you cause any more trouble, I'll personally chop you up." Not only did Zhang Hongmei look ice-cold, her voice was bone-chilling as well. Chapter 776. After returning to the Heaven-Awakened world, Zhao Fu tested Daphne's abilities. Her archery skills were indeed quite powerful, and this was the only chance for the Moria city to return to the royal family. Daphne did not dare to hide anything, and she did not disappoint her mother and Ani's expectations. Zhao Fu was quite pleased as well. It seemed that he didn't have any generals who were adept at archery, and with Daphne joining him, she would be able to make up for this gap. At the same time, Zhao Fu gave the Calamity Bow to her. The Calamity Bow had never been of use to him, so it was more suitable for her to keep it. Now that the city lord was satisfied, Zhao Fu went to Moria City and prepared to upgrade it to a level 5 great city. Originally, it was still a small city, but with the huge amount of experience points given by Qin, it was extremely easy to upgrade to a great city, and the upgrade was completed in a few moves. After fusing the city upgrade stone into the city heart, the city heart exploded out with a massive amount of power. A massive explosion sounded out as a golden pillar of light shot into the sky, and a golden wave of light spread out from the city heart to cover the entirety of Moria City. Upgrade complete. Following that, Zhao Fu used the remaining 3 upgrade crystals. Golden pillars of light shot into the sky. In just a short while, the Peacock City had been upgraded to a level 5 great city. It was only 1 level away from becoming a level 1 capital city. Zhao Fu planned to upgrade Peacock City to a level 1 capital city first. This was because upgrading it would give it the power of a capital city, and upgrading Qin City required 500 million EXP. Compared to upgrading a great city to a capital city, it was too difficult. So, Zhao Fu planned to upgrade Peacock City first. However, Daphne's cultivation level was quite low, and her archery skills were quite powerful. She also had the Peacock King's bloodline and the Peacock King's power, but she was still lacking. Compared to Bai Qi's 7 murders power, Zhao Fu felt that it was quite weak. As such, Zhao Fu also planted a 6 desires demonic seed within her body and had her cultivate the 6 desires celestial art, causing her to quickly become stronger. The only downside is that Zhao Fu has to work a little harder at night. You know that. After dealing with this matter, Zhao Fu once again had some free time. In actuality, Zhao Fu wanted to invade the fish scale world to obtain a large number of invasion points and rewards. However, if others did not want to invade, there was nothing Zhao Fu could do. Zhao Fu did not have the ability to invade by himself. In front of a world's power, Qin City was still too weak. A week passed in the blink of an eye, and Great Qin had finished clearing out 35 regions. Great Qin's strength once again greatly increased. First of all, there were 155 regions under their control, including 620 great cities, 26 small cities, 210 towns, and 19,489 villages. Their total population had reached 550 million, and they had 80 million soldiers. There were 50 million Stage 1 soldiers, 9 million Stage 2 soldiers, 170,000 Stage 3 soldiers, and 10,000 stage for soldiers. Even though there would be one or two system main cities joining Qin City every few days, Zhao Fu felt that this speed was still too slow. Time was running out, and the only thing Zhao Fu could do was send more ambassadors to more cities. Even though there would be one or two system main cities joining Qin City every few days, Zhao Fu felt that this speed was still too slow. Time was running out, and the only thing Zhao Fu could do was send more ambassadors to more cities. In actuality, Zhao Fu wanted to send the Wyvern army to scare them so that they would quickly surrender. However, this plan would not work. First, Qin City could not show any signs of danger, or else the diplomatic relations that he had established for so long would collapse. The countless cities would feel threatened and once again allied together. Even though he could pretend that the Wyverns were not his, after these city lords joined Qin City, they would still find out about this, and they would feel quite dissatisfied. This would leave behind many hidden dangers, and Zhao Fu did not want to see such a thing happen. Now, Zhao Fu could only wait. During this time, Zhao Fu's palace was completed. It was incredibly grand and majestic, and it took up thousands of kilometers. The city walls were tall and sturdy, and there were countless pavilions and palaces. There were even gardens and streams, and the decorations were incredibly luxurious, and they were mostly black. Zhao Fu moved the city hall into the palace, and the meeting hall was changed to a great hall. This great hall was 10,000 square meters wide, and it was made of exquisitely polished marble that was extremely smooth. It was a bit black, and it could reflect a person's appearance. There were also thick stone pillars that were arranged in an orderly manner, and they were made of black gold. There were savage and domineering black dragons engraved on them. There was nothing within the great hall apart from a 3-meter-tall stage. There was a black screen with a black dragon engraved on it, and a black golden dragon chair. The ceiling of the great hall was covered with orbs that gave off light like stars in the sky, illuminating the surroundings. The great hall was not as dazzling and noble as the golden hall, and it gave off a heavy feeling of suppression, as well as a mental might. In the future, everything would be discussed here, and Zhao Fu brought all of the city hall's items and women to the great hall. Even though he had not officially restored his kingdom, now that the Great Hall had been completed, Zhao Fu officially lived the life of an emperor. At that moment, something big happened. It was another world invasion. However, it did not happen in the human world, but in the Dark Demon world. The Dark Demon world had been invaded. Zhao Fu felt quite surprised. This was the first time he had heard of the demon race being invaded. With the demon race's natural advantage and the fact that the Dark Demon world was a cultivation world, it was much more powerful than an ordinary world. However, there was a race that dared to invade it. This was simply too bold. Moreover, this time, it was not like the human world, where the barrier had been accidentally broken. Instead, they had forcefully opened a world gate and invaded. There were not many who dared to do such a thing or had the ability to do such a thing. On the Dark Demon world side, Zhao Fu had been controlling Yi Tsong's body the entire time, and after hearing about this, he was quite shocked. The invasion was in the Dark Demon world's northern continent, which was the world to the right of the Dark Demon world. To its left was the human world, and Zhao Fu did not have any information about that world. His abilities were quite limited, and he had already done his best to know about the nearby worlds. From the information he had obtained, the invaders were from the God race, and they were called the Spirit Light God race. They looked like Westerners and had a faint light around them. There was a fist-sized circle on their chest that gave off light, and every Spirit Light God race member had one. Ordinary Spirit Light God race members' rings of light gave off white light. Those with high statuses gave off silver light, and those with especially high statuses gave off golden light. It was said that the other side's world protector gave off 3-colored holy light. After looking at the information, Zhao Fu understood. No wonder they dared to invade the demon race. Only powerful races would dare to do such a thing. The God race, demon race, and devil race were the 3 giants of the 8 major races, and the Devil Horn Empire outside the Legacy Land was the devil race. Chapter 777. The god race and demon race were like fire and water, and they could not coexist. They could only fight. And in terms of innate attributes, the god race and demon race were mortal enemies. The spirit light race had opened a world gate this time. It was a golden gate that was 10,000 meters tall and hundreds of kilometers wide, and it gave off an intense divine light. When the divine light shone on the demonic chi, it immediately became much thinner. The divine light greatly countered demonic chi. There were 1,000 of these gates in total, and they stood in a row in the northern continent of the dark demon world. They were incredibly majestic and shocking. Each gate had millions of spirit light people standing guard, and there were 4 billion or so spirit light people guarding the golden gates. He did not know how the spirit light race had been able to grasp such a thing. Even Zhao Fu did not have the ability to do such a thing. They were only able to create a trans-world teleportation formation that could only transport a single person. Now, the spirit light people had the ability to cross worlds. Let alone the humans, even the fish scale people did not have such a thing, and even the dark demon people did not have such a thing. If they had such a thing, they would have long since invaded the human world. The demon race had an innate talent, which was to devour the flesh and blood of other races to increase their strength. In their eyes, humans were just human medicines that could increase their cultivation. If they had something that could allow them to cross worlds, they would have immediately invaded the human world. The dark demon world's world protector had already come to the human world once, so he most likely knew about the human world. It was possible that he had left many spies in the human world to obtain information about the human world. The spirit light people had come with ferocious momentum, and as soon as they opened the world gate, they flooded out and massacred hundreds of regions in the northern continent of the dark demon world. The spirit light people's methods were not inferior to the demon races at all. Hundreds of millions of corpses lay in the hundreds of regions, and blood dyed the ground red. All creatures with demonic chi were massacred. This was the demon race's world, and almost all creatures had demonic chi. Only the spirit light people had massacred the hundreds of regions, not leaving a single person alive. They did not even spare some of the weaker demon beasts, and the stench of blood there was enough to make people want to vomit. The dark demon people had not been able to react in time to the spirit light people's sudden attack. Just like the humans, they had been caught off guard, and by the time they reacted, it was too late. However, the spirit light people understood how terrifying the dark demon people were. After massacring hundreds of regions in the northern continent, they brought a large amount of spoils in return to the Golden Gates. At that moment, the dark demon world also had a special event. Anyone who killed the dark demon people or spirit light people would obtain invasion points, which could be used to exchange for various items. The items were similar to the items on the chaotic world stone steel, but some were of lower grade, and so were only useful to the dark demon race. However, Zhao Fu saw that the of the Night Dynasty stone steel could also be exchanged for capital cities, any dynasty, cities, city, and of city and cities. This made Zhao Fu feel quite tempted. If he could use Yi Tsang's body to exchange for a capital city, it would not be a problem. However, there were simply too many invasion points, and Zhao Fu was worried that even with the Night Dynasty's power, it would be difficult to gather them all. After all, Zhao Fu had used up half of Great Qin's fate to seal the 8 aquatic beast kings, resolve the aquatic beast tide, and poison the 3 billion fish-scale people to death. In total, he had only been able to exchange for a single capital city, which was incredibly difficult. In actuality, the Night Dynasty city was just a bit away from becoming a capital city, and Zhao Fu could make the Night Dynasty's city one of Qin's capital cities. That way, Qin would be able to obtain 3 capital cities, and Zhao Fu only needed to level up a level 4 capital city to level 6 to restore the Night Dynasty. It was a pity that he had to touch the Night Dynasty's royal dynasty. This was akin to killing the goose that laid the golden eggs, and it was incredibly stupid. After all, the Night Dynasty's true value was its 170 million people and countless soldiers. They were far more useful than a capital city. Zhao Fu definitely could not touch the Night Dynasty's royal city, as the losses would be too great. As such, he could only choose other methods. Now that the spirit light world and dark demon world were fighting, the attention of both worlds was focused on the battlefield. As such, Zhao Fu felt that he could fish in troubled waters and obtain even more benefits. Zhao Fu did not feel anything towards these two worlds, but he hoped that they would fight as fiercely as possible. Otherwise, the human race would not have a chance to advance. Subjectively, Zhao Fu hoped that the dark demon world would lose, as they were right next to the human world and could invade at any moment. They were simply too great of a threat. However, there was no need to think too much about it. In any case, Zhao Fu had to enter these troubled waters, as there were enough benefits to attract Zhao Fu. By now, Yi Tsang had become the Night Dynasty's king. He had originally been SS grade, but Zhao Fu had used a grade pill to raise him to SSS grade. He had also entered the Night Dynasty's ancestral demon lake and obtained the Night Demon Constitution. This constitution was one of the rare, powerful constitutions in the Dark Demon world, and only those with the Night Dynasty's bloodline could obtain it. At the same time, he cultivated the Night Dynasty's legacy heart technique, the Night Art. Because the Dark Demon world was a cultivation world, they had many more arts than humans, and their grades were much higher. The Night Art was a level 1 human grade art, which was 1 grade higher than Qin Royal Art. This grade was between SSS grade and human grade, so the difference in power was quite great. However, now that Zhao Fu mainly cultivated a celestial art, he did not have any weaknesses in his arts. As Zhao Fu's clone, Zhao Fu had wanted him to cultivate the 6 Desires celestial art, but he found that he could not. A powerful art required a vessel, and Zhao Fu could only cultivate it because he had the Golden Dragon. Other rough 6 Desires celestial arts, such as the one that Mo Yao Air cultivated, required a 6 Desires demonic seed, and the 6 Desires demonic seed could only be completed by doing it. Zhao Fu could not do it to a man, and that man was his clone, so he could not do it to himself. However, Zhao Fu had used his essence blood to help Yi Tsang unlock the king's profession. Now that Zhao Fu had a sovereign bloodline, he had enough power to unlock the king's profession. Adding on the Night Dynasty's level 5 capital city's power, Yi Tsang was not weak at all. He was many times more powerful than before, and Zhao Fu could use his body to do many things without any worries. At that moment, Mo Yao Air walked out, giving off an alluring aura. Looking at Yi Tsang sitting on the throne, she said coquettishly, "Yi Tsang, can you hurry up? Has Master returned to the Dark Demon world yet?" Zhao Fu did not tell Mo Yao Air that he had taken over Yi Tsang's body. It was best to keep this a secret, as this matter was simply too important. After all, the ruler of the Night Dynasty had been taken over by someone else. If this news spread, the consequences would be unimaginable. Chapter 778. The invasion of the spirit light race was a big matter, so the Dark Demon world held an emergency meeting. As one of the 10 or so most powerful factions in the southern continent, the Night Dynasty had the right to participate, and Mo Yao Air, as the daughter of the Demon Path sect, also had the right to participate. In actuality, Zhao Fu's true goal was to understand the higher-ups of the Dark Demon world and gain some information about them so that they could prepare for war in the future. The Dark Demon world only had 4 continents, but each continent was very big and had over 10,000 regions. Compared to the other 3 continents, the southern continent was slightly weaker. The strongest was the eastern continent, which had 15,000 or so regions. Of the 7 legatees, 4 were from the eastern continent, and the World Protector was also from the eastern continent. It was definitely the most terrifying of the 4 continents. The emergency meeting was also held in the eastern continent to discuss how to deal with the spirit light race. A world-class invasion like this was not something that a single faction could decide, so they had to ally together. Hearing Yi Tsang's words, Mo Yao Air dissatisfiedly harumphed and turned to leave. Yi Tsang, or Zhao Fu, could not help but lightly laugh as he followed behind her. They went through a teleportation channel and arrived at the eastern continent. Within a massive palace that gave off demonic chi, there were countless people gathered. All of their auras were powerful, and they were not ordinary people. They were all famous figures from various continents, or else ordinary people would not have the right to participate in this meeting. When Emo Yao Air stepped into the palace, a wave of cries sounded out. Emo Yao Air was the third-ranked beauty in the dark demon world. She had a peerlessly beautiful face and a bewitching figure, and she gave off an incredibly alluring aura, causing countless men's bodies to heat up. Something in her body reacted and was pulled into a state of desire. This was the power of the Six Desires demonic art. Not only was it incredibly powerful, but it also gave those who cultivated it a bewitching charm. This was especially so for Mo Yao Air's constitution. The men in the palace stared at Mo Yao Air and could not help but gulp. They were all attracted by Mo Yao Air's charm. Facing these gazes, Mo Yao Air gave a trace of a flirtatious smile, causing countless men's minds to go blank. Their expressions froze as if they had fallen into a trance, and many women could not help but feel envious. They inwardly cursed at Mo Yao Air. Mo Yao Air looked quite disdainful and did not even look at these men as she walked towards the center of the palace. Her mind was filled with doing it with her master. Only after Mo Yao Air left did everyone come back to their senses and say that Mo Yao Air is simply too alluring. I feel that our dark demon continent's #1 beauty is about to change. Everyone else nodded in agreement and continued to look at Mo Yao Air. Because Mo Yao Air's charm was too great, Yi Song was naturally ignored. They went to the center of the palace, where the truly powerful figures were. There were less than 100 chairs here, and many people were already seated. Mo Yao Air casually sat down, and Zhao Fu sat next to her. Following this, everyone else arrived, and Zhao Fu personally saw the Dark Demon World's world legatee and world protector. Of the 7 legatees, the one with the strongest aura was a bald elder, who was the sect master of sect. This made Zhao Fu feel quite surprised, as most legatees would ignore those who were older and choose those who were younger, as they had more potential in time. It was quite rare for a legatee to choose an old man. The second person had perfect looks and wore white clothes. She gave off an icy aura, and she was the Dark Demon World's #1 beauty and the daughter of the sect master of the demon celestial sect. The third person was a ferocious-looking big man who was the legatee of a dynasty. He was incredibly savage and liked to eat people, and he ate at least 10 or so babies every day. The fourth person was also peerlessly beautiful and had a graceful figure, but she gave off a vicious aura. She was the Dark Demon World's #2 beauty and the legatee of a dynasty. The fifth person was a cold-looking young man who was the sect master of a sect. The sixth person was a handsome young man who gave off a bright and confident smile. He did not look like someone from the demon race at all, and the last person had a well-built figure but looked quite simple and honest. The one that Zhao Fu paid the most attention to was the world protector. Zhao Fu could sense a powerful and dangerous aura from him, and his strength greatly surpassed that of ordinary legatees. His name was Mo Chi, and he was a super genius of the Dark Demon World. He was the sect master of the #1 sect in the Dark Demon World, the Demon Heaven sect. As if sensing Zhao Fu's gaze, Mo Chi's cold gaze fell on Zhao Fu's body. Perhaps it was because they were both world protectors, but Zhao Fu instinctively did not show any signs of weakness. He leaned back against a chair and calmly looked at Mo Chi. Mo Chi slightly frowned, and the cold atmosphere became even colder. Everyone looked at Mo Chi before looking at Zhao Fu. Is this Yi Song really not afraid of death? He dares to look at Mo Chi? Mo Yao Air knew about Yi Song's background, and she could not help but push him, indicating that he should behave. Zhao Fu came back to his senses and slightly smiled at Mo Chi. Only then did Mo Chi look away, and the atmosphere was no longer as cold. Haha, so you're that bastard from the Night Dynasty. Who would have thought that you could take control of the Night Dynasty in a single night? Your Night Dynasty's people are so stupid that a bastard like you could take control of a dynasty." The man-eating big man loudly laughed as he spoke mockingly. As someone with the most orthodox bloodline in the Night Dynasty, he naturally looked down on bastards like Yi Song. This was especially so for a bastard like Yi Song to take control of a dynasty. "Ugh, don't go too far," Mo Yao Air coldly harumphed. Yi Song was her master's subordinate, so she naturally had to take care of him. "Ugh," the man-eating big man greedily looked at Mo Yao Air and smiled as he said, "It's fine if you don't go too far, but you'll have to spend the night with me." Bang! A massive hand made of a black substance stretched out from the air, sending Ugger flying 5 or 6 meters back with terrifying power. Ugger was not injured and only looked a bit wretched. He looked quite furious because he had not expected Zhao Fu to suddenly attack and had been hit in a moment of carelessness. None of the people present had expected that Yi Song would suddenly attack Ugger, and he had done so in front of them. As one of the legatees, Ugger naturally had terrifying power, and this bastard was about to suffer. Zhao Fu had suddenly attacked because he did not want to be mistreated, nor did he want to see his woman humiliated. If he did not have power, he could endure it, but now that he had great power, why would he endure it? Zhao Fu did not want to be mistreated at all, and he felt quite angry about his status as a bastard. Chapter 779. Arc. With Ugger's savage personality, how could he endure being suddenly attacked? He roared and countless traces of demonic chi flowed out, forming 3 demon tigers that gave off ferocious might as they leapt at Yi Song. Yi Song disdainfully stood up. Now that he had so much power, he did not fear Ugger at all. He stretched out his hand and countless traces of black matter condensed, forming a 3-meter-long, thin sword. This was the power of the Demon Knight Constitution, which allowed him to condense darkness power at will. The 3 demon tigers ferociously leapt over, and Yi Song slashed out with his sword, sending out a black crescent that shot out. The 3 demon tigers were slashed by the crescent and exploded into countless traces of demonic chi. Suddenly, a terrifying demon-like figure appeared behind Yi Song. It was Ugger. Ugger's eyes had become violet, and he grew 1 meter taller, turning into a 3-meter-tall giant. His body was covered with powerful muscles, and horns grew out of his head. This was the Demon King's power. Seeing that the 3 demon tigers were not a match for him, Ugger immediately used his Demon King's power. His body blurred, and he appeared behind Yi Song, and he punched out with terrifying destructive power towards Yi Song. Just as it was about to hit Zhao Fu, countless traces of black matter condensed, forming a hemispherical barrier of darkness. Ugger's terrifying punch landed on the barrier of darkness, but it only caused a few cracks to appear, causing Ugger to feel quite startled. Suddenly, the black barrier automatically disappeared, and a massive hand giving off eerie demonic chi and boundless demonic might slam towards Ugger. Ugger was given a big fright and roared as he crossed his arms, causing countless traces of demonic chi to flow out and form a demon shield in front of him. This demon shield was rectangular and 3 meters tall and 5 meters wide, and there was an image of a demon king engraved on it. Ugger was incredibly confident in this Demon King's shield, as it was the Ugger family's most powerful defensive method. Anything weaker than Demon King's power will be devoured by the Demon King's shield. Bang! The massive demon hand slammed against the Demon King's shield, and the Demon King engraved on the shield opened its mouth and devoured the demon hand. However, Ugger looked quite shocked because he found that he was unable to devour the demon hand's power at all. The Demon King's shield immediately shattered, and Ugger was sent flying more than 10 meters by a huge force. He fell to the ground, and a trace of blood flowed from the corner of his mouth. This made everyone in the surroundings feel quite surprised. It seemed that Yi Song was the stronger one, and he was actually able to defeat one of the stronger legatees, Ugger. The surrounding people dispersed. No one wanted to stop him, because in the demon race, only the strong had the qualifications to speak, had the qualifications to set the rules, and the weak had to obey. Ugger crawled up from the ground and savagely glared at Yi Song as he roared, "I'm going to eat you." Boom! A terrifying demonic flame erupted around Ugger's body, and a terrifying might spread out. Countless bricks cracked as Ugger used his full strength and roared as he charged at Yi Song. Yi Song coldly laughed and raised his slender black sword. Instantly, the surrounding demonic chi seemed to find an opening and entered the black sword. Countless traces of soul-devouring demonic light shot out, seeming to devour space itself. A terrifying sword aura spread out, bringing with it the might of a godly spirit. This caused everyone's expressions to fall. They finally realized what was wrong with Yi Song. He was using a demon god skill, or else the demonic chi would not be so active and would not give off the demon god's might. Boom! Ugger rushed at Yi Song, but Yi Song slashed out, sending out a massive sword light that once again sent Ugger flying. He crashed 100 meters away, and a 30-centimeter-long gash appeared on his body, from which black blood continuously flowed out. Ark! The intense pain was caused by Ugger going berserk, and an even greater power burst forth. Ugger had already used his City Lord Seal's power. Yi Song also started to use his City Lord Seal's power, and the two massive auras clashed. Just as they were about to start fighting, Chi could not help but say, "Enough. Both of you stop. We're here to discuss how to deal with the god race's invasion." As Chi spoke, his body gave off a mountain-like aura that locked down space, causing everyone's hearts to sink. Yi Song's pupils slightly constricted, and he found that Chi's power was not any weaker than his main body's. This was yet another powerful enemy, and his clone's power was not a match for him yet. Under Chi's massive aura, Yi Song and Ugger both stopped fighting. Ugger savagely glared at Yi Song before returning to his seat. His injuries quickly healed, and it was as if nothing had happened. His recovery speed was quite shocking. Yi Song returned to his seat, and everyone's gazes towards him changed. There was now a trace of respect and a trace of wariness. Before, they had treated Yi Song, a bastard son, as a joke, and they had felt quite disdainful towards him. However, it seemed that Yi Song's power was quite terrifying, and he had been able to defeat Ugger. Moreover, he had a demon god skill, which made Yi Song's identity even more mysterious. They had only heard of demon god skills and had never seen them before, as it was almost impossible for anyone to have godly spirit skills. Zhao Fu had used a demon god skill, and after using his demon race body and demonic energy, it was even more powerful than normal. Mo Yao Er looked at Zhao Fu in surprise. She had never thought that Zhao Fu would become so powerful in such a short period of time, and she felt that she would not be a match for him. At that moment, the bald elder stepped out and said, "Now that the god race is invaded, do you have any good plans?" The gloomy-looking young man coldly harumphed. "What can we do? Just go up and fight. These god race people have bathed our 100 regions in blood, so we have to repay this debt with blood." The demon race was quite ferocious and bloodthirsty. Of course, they had their own plans. Zhao Fu did not say anything, and after Mo Yaoer said a few words, the meeting concluded. Zhao Fu mainly wanted to understand the demon race's strength, and after achieving this goal, he left with Mo Yaoer. However, as they left, Ugger looked at Zhao Fu with dense killing intent. However, Zhao Fu did not mind, as Zhao Fu wanted to find an opportunity to kill him. Moreover, Zhao Fu planned to come with his main body, as there would be many benefits to reap. Yi Song returned to the southern continent and started to gather his forces. However, Zhao Fu did not plan to bring a single indigenous resident and only brought players. There were 1,000 golden doors, and the Night Dynasty was only responsible for one. How could Zhao Fu use his full strength in a battle between the Dark Demon race and Spirit Light race? Of course, he would take advantage of the chaos. Chapter 780. He led the 4 million players to the northern continent of the Dark Demon world. They did not sense anything before reaching the golden doors, but when they entered, they could smell the stench of blood and death everywhere. Zhao Fu passed by System main city that had been turned into ruins. There were corpses everywhere, and blood spurted everywhere. There was not a single trace of life, and it gave off an eerie and terrifying aura. Everything of value within the System main city had been plundered, and it was the same no matter which race invaded. They could only kill and take everything, and even if it was useless, they would destroy it. After all, if they could not strengthen their enemies, how could they be merciful? For example, the demon race's equipment all contained demonic chi, which the god race could not use. After all, the god race and demon race's attributes countered each other. However, all of the equipment on the corpses had been taken by the god race. They would rather destroy them than leave anything for the demon race. The demon race did not care about these corpses, even though they had the ability to devour flesh and blood. However, that was only useful for fresh flesh and blood. The corpses that had been rotting for a few days contained too much deathly chi and impurities, so they were useless to the demon race. Zhao Fu inwardly laughed and gave an expression like that of a holy mother, looking incredibly compassionate and sorrowful as he said, "We shouldn't have allowed our people to lie here like this, allowing their corpses to rot and their souls to not be at peace. We need to give them a place to rest. This is our responsibility to build a world with love. At the same time, we will remember the cruel things that the God race has done to inspire our race's fighting spirit. The dark demon race will not allow anyone to humiliate us." If these words were spoken in the human world and were filled with love, care, kindness, and justice, countless people would have applauded and cheered. In fact, many people would have followed Zhao Fu to do good deeds. However, everyone in the dark demon race felt that there was something wrong with Zhao Fu's head, or else he would not have said such stupid words. Zhao Fu did not care about this, and used this as an excuse to start collecting corpses. The Spirit Light people had massacred 148 regions, which would provide him with at least 40 million Stage 1 corpses and countless corpses with high-grade talent. Even the corpses with low-grade talent could be put into the Blood Lake or Fountain of Life. If it was worse, it could be transformed into the undead. Qin would never waste a corpse in his hands. Zhao Fu would fully respect the corpses of Qin soldiers, but Zhao Fu did not need to care about the enemy's corpses at all. Of course, Zhao Fu did not take the initiative to do this, and he instead gave it to the Night Dynasty's people to collect. During this period of war, no one had the time to care about the Night Dynasty's stupid actions. Yi Tsang led his people and slowly came to the golden doors. There were also 4 million god people standing guard here, and their equipment gave off this light, making them look incredibly holy and dignified. It was a stark contrast to the dense demonic chi on Zhao Fu's side. Zhao Fu looked at these gods. They were too high profile. Their equipment was so bright and eye-catching. Set up a defense here and don't attack for now. Zhao Fu just wanted to put up a show and did not have any intentions of wasting any of his forces. As such, he did not plan on attacking and only stood guard. The Spirit Light people had long since set up their defenses. They had already made great gains from this invasion, so they just stood there and waited for the Dark Demon people to attack. They understood how savage the Dark Demon people were, and they would definitely attack for revenge first. That way, the Spirit Light people would be able to quickly gain points. They had set up many traps here, and they were all things that countered the Dark Demon people. While the battles elsewhere were incredibly intense, Zhao Fu's side was incredibly calm. Seeing that Zhao Fu did not seem to want to attack at all, the commander felt quite confused. Logically speaking, after the Spirit Light people had killed so many people, the Dark Demon people should have been incredibly furious. However, why did he not seem to want to attack at all? The commander was wary of any traps. Because they had a great advantage, he naturally would not choose to attack, and he slowly watched as Zhao Fu built up his defenses. Just like that, the two armies faced off. On the Night Dynasty's side, Zhao Fu did not ask for any system main city support in order to find an excuse not to attack. After all, Zhao Fu did not want to put in any effort, nor did he want to waste the Night Dynasty's forces. After all, the Night Dynasty's forces belonged to Qin. Zhao Fu's main body had also arrived. A golden gate appeared, and the dark demon people gave off demonic qi as they roared and gathered into a demon tide, giving off terrifying demonic might as they flooded towards the spirit light people. At this moment, the various restrictions set up under the defensive wall were triggered. Countless blazing white lights appeared from the void and shot towards the demon tide. It was as if tens of thousands of streams of light shot out at the same time, leaving behind long trails of light. The momentum was extremely shocking. The rays of white light shot towards the demon tide, and the massive power sent the dark demon people flying. In just an instant, there were countless casualties, and the massive demon tide's momentum paused. At that moment, the spirit light people grasped this opportunity and drew their bows, causing arrows to fly out. The countless arrows rained down on the demon tide, causing blood to fly everywhere and cries to continuously sound out. The dark demon people were once again heavily injured, and many people died. However, the dark demon people were not easy to deal with. The dark demon people ferociously attacked and exploded out with blood-red aura flames. They then squatted down and pressed their hands against the ground, causing blood-red magic formations to appear and absorb the blood of the dark demon people around them. Their bodies gave off blinding blood-red light, making them look like people made of light. They stomped on the ground, causing the ground to instantly collapse. Their bodies shot out like blood-red lasers, giving off terrifying power as they broke through the countless restrictions and smashed into the defensive walls. Bang! 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 Massive explosions sounded out as the spirit light people's defensive walls continuously trembled, causing the spirit light people to feel greatly startled. After the intense trembling, the defensive walls were covered with cracks and large holes. This was a suicidal attack. However, because of their sacrifice, the dark demon people once again charged over and ferociously smashed into the defensive walls, and the battle between the two sides officially began. As the soldiers intensely fought, the city lords from both sides also started to fight. Keguna was a spirit god city lord, but when the spirit world protector said that the world next to them was a dark demon race, almost all of the spirit light people went into an uproar. They all agreed on the goal of eliminating the dark demon race and all evil. This time, they were using the world's power to invade the dark demon race and purify this world. As a city lord, he did not hesitate to participate. However, the dark demon race was incredibly powerful, and this was their home ground. Keguna had to face the attacks of two dark demon city lords, and after fighting on one side, Keguna could not hold on much longer. There were many bone-deep wounds on his body, and blood continuously flowed out. Could it be that he was going to die here? Keguna thought to himself sorrowfully. A dark demon city lord sent out a massive amount of saber light as he slashed towards Keguna, and Keguna was unable to defend at all. A searing white light giving off a massive aura descended from the sky. That terrifying aura caused everyone nearby to tremble, and a terrifying figure appeared. He was wearing a snow-white cloak and had 6 pairs of angelic wings on his back. His body gave off a pure, holy light. Chapter 781. Even though he could not see this person's appearance, Keguna was sure that this person was from the god race. This was because the holy light around this person's body was incredibly pure and made people feel comfortable and calm. This was definitely the power of a high-grade god race person. More importantly, this high-grade god race person had blocked a fatal attack for him. In the demon race world, only the god race would do such a thing. Thank you, sir, for saving my life. Keguna hurriedly bowed towards this person. The god race had a very strict hierarchy, and this person was much more powerful than him and had saved his life. As such, he naturally had to respect him. This person did not reply, causing Keguna to feel quite awkward. However, experts were all quite cold and aloof, and even though this person looked quite cold, he had a good heart. Otherwise, he would not have saved him. This person giving off holy light was, of course, Zhao Fu. The holy light did not come from Zhao Fu himself, but from the seraph sword in his hand. In order to make it seem more real, Zhao Fu had put on a pure white cloak to make himself seem more noble and hypocritical. Zhao Fu did not reply, because he could not understand what this person was saying. As such, he could not respond, or else his identity would be exposed. As for the reason why Zhao Fu had saved him, it was to ensure that his identity would not be exposed and that he would be able to blend into the god race's side, making the dark demon people think that Zhao Fu was from the god race. Otherwise, how could Zhao Fu be so kind as to save the god race? The two demon race city lords looked quite serious as they looked at the person holding the holy light sword. To be able to give off such a hateful holy light, this person was definitely from the god race. However, this god race person seemed quite powerful, and they did not feel confident rushing up. At that moment, another 4 demon race city lords discovered this god race expert and flew over. The 6 demon race city lords looked at each other and decided to join forces to destroy this god race expert. Boom, boom, boom. 6 city lord seals floated out of the 6 city lords' bodies, giving off terrifying demonic light, and an aura that seemed to be able to pierce through the clouds exploded out. The 6 demon race city lords' eyes became blood red, and large amounts of demonic chi flowed out of their bodies, causing people to feel a chill. Kegna could not help but feel quite startled. 6 demon race city lords working together was incredibly terrifying. Would his race's experts be able to stop them? Keguna started to feel quite unsure. Let's go up and help. Even though Keguna's injuries weren't light, he could still restrict the city lord. He didn't want to put too much pressure on the expert who had saved him, so he rushed forward. Zhao Fu could sense what Keguna was thinking and raised his hand to stop him from going forward. The divine race had to look real, so he couldn't just watch Keguna die in front of him. As such, he didn't want Keguna to come and cause trouble. Otherwise, the enemy wouldn't be able to hold him back, and he would have to go and save him. Seeing Zhao Fu, Keguna felt quite moved. Experts had to face danger by themselves, and Zhao Fu did not want him to get involved for his own safety. Who would risk their life to fight against 6 people for him? Keguna felt quite moved. This expert's heart is too kind. He must be from most sacred family of the god race. Keguna was moved. Boom! A terrifying saber light containing demonic might slashed toward Zhao Fu, seeming as if it could split apart a mountain. The 6 city lords were the first to attack. Zhao Fu gave a trace of a disdainful smile. Now that he didn't need Qin's city lords to fight, Zhao Fu could use their power. However, facing 6 city lords, Zhao Fu didn't even need to use his own power. As the saber light slashed over, Zhao Fu dodged to the side before turning into a ray of light and rushing at the 6 city lords. The 6 city lords spread out and surrounded Zhao Fu, simultaneously attacking him. The sword light, saber light, and spear light clashed together, resulting in a massive explosion. The shockwaves turned into wild gales that swept out in all directions. This made Keguna feel quite startled. If it was him, he would have long since died, so he couldn't help but worry about Zhao Fu. The 6 city lords gave pleased smiles because Zhao Fu hadn't dodged at all and had instead taken all of their attacks head-on. Wasn't he seeking death? However, after the light from the explosion dissipated, Zhao Fu slowly spread his 3 pairs of pure white wings, appearing completely fine. The 6 dark demon people had never thought that Zhao Fu would be completely fine after facing their powerful attacks. Keguna let out a sigh of relief and wanted to go and help, but he found that there was no need for him to help. Zhao Fu's body flashed and appeared in front of a dark demon, piercing through his chest. The city lord had never thought that he would die so easily, and his eyes widened as if he wanted to say something. However, blood continuously flowed out of his mouth, and, in the end, he didn't say anything. After killing the city lord, Zhao Fu's 6 pure white wings flapped again, and he appeared in front of another city lord, once again easily killing that city lord. Following this, the remaining city lords understood that they weren't a match for Zhao Fu and tried to run in fear. However, they were all killed by Zhao Fu, and their corpses and city lord seals were put away by Zhao Fu. Keguna smiled and was about to go up and say something to Zhao Fu when Zhao Fu raised his holy light sword, exploding out with a white light that shot into the sky. A white halo appeared in the sky, giving off boundless white light that covered the god race people's bodies. Only then did Keguna realize that the god race people below were already at a disadvantage against the dark demon people's ferocious attacks. However, under the effects of the white light, the god race people's strength was greatly boosted, and they were able to suppress the dark demon people's attacks. Keguna was completely convinced, and he felt immense admiration toward Zhao Fu. Zhao Fu risking his life to protect others made him feel incredibly moved. Following this, he saw Zhao Fu kill a few dark demon city lords before turning into a ray of light and disappearing over the horizon, making Keguna feel quite disappointed. However, he understood that Zhao Fu had changed the situation by himself and didn't care about fame or fortune, nor did he want others to know that it was him. He didn't deserve to be friends with such a holy and pure expert, and he could only look up to him. In the forest in the distance, Zhao Fu grinned. He had obtained 18 city lord seals so easily without raising too much suspicion. He quickly called over the Qin assassins he had brought and gave them the city lord seals, telling them to find these cities and relocate them. Of course, Zhao Fu once again acted as the incarnation of light to help the spirit light people fight against the dark demon people. After a few battles, Zhao Fu had killed 140 city lords, and Zhao Fu understood that he had to stop, or else something big would happen. After all, Zhao Fu killing so many city lords would definitely draw attention. Perhaps some people had already noticed Zhao Fu and wanted to find an opportunity to kill Zhao Fu. Chapter 782. Moreover, he had obtained 140 demon cities this time, which was quite shocking. As a person, one had to be satisfied. At the same time, Zhao Fu received notifications about relocating demon cities, and he obtained countless EXP and achievement points. This caused Zhao Fu to give a satisfied smile, and he decided not to pretend to be from the god race anymore. However, he could not pretend to be from the god race anymore, but he could pretend to be from the demon race and kill the god race. This was a very good choice. After making this decision, Zhao Fu gave a sinister smile and made some preparations. He took out the Sky Demon Sword and caused the Sky Demon Chi to enter his body, making him look exactly like a demon race. This time, Zhao Fu did not bring his cloak because he had been wearing a white cloak when pretending to be from the god race. Now that he was wearing a black cloak, it would be too easy for people to associate him with the god race. As such, Zhao Fu did not bring his cloak, but he did not reveal his appearance either. Zhao Fu cut down a random tree and took out a piece of wood. After doing some simple work, he made a crude mask and wore it on his face. Only a pair of terrifying eyes could be seen, making people feel immense pressure and terror. Demon woman, today we'll put you to death. One of the 3 city lords wearing golden holy armor looked at a woman with cold eyes and dense killing intent. This woman had a slim figure and snow-white skin. She looked quite fiery and seductive, and she seemed to be a famous beauty from the dark demon race. Surrounded by the 3 god race city lords, a trace of blood leaked out of her lips, and she coldly laughed as she said, "Isn't the god race a noble race? Why are the 3 of you bullying a weak woman like me?" One of the city lords said mockingly, "There's no need to talk about morality when dealing with the demon race. You're all evil, and getting rid of you is the duty of the god race. No matter what we do, the gods will support us." After saying this, the city lord raised his staff, causing ripples to appear in the sky. A massive spear covered with divine runes stretched out from the air, giving off a terrifying and sharp aura that could cause people's hairs to stand on end. Shuemei, that hot and sexy woman, also sensed how terrifying the spear was and immediately tried to dodge to the side. However, at that moment, the two God Ray City lords beside her simultaneously stretched out their hands. Their palms gave off boundless holy light, and a formless restrictive power covered Xuan Mei's body. Xuan Mei desperately tried to break free, but she was too slow. Saint Spirit's Spear. The city lord roared as a spear gave off boundless power and shot toward Xuan Mei. Xuan Mei was unable to dodge at all, and she felt a wave of despair and helplessness. Just as Xuan Mei was about to be hit by the spear, a figure suddenly appeared in front of Xuan Mei. He raised his hand and slashed out with a terrifying sword light. The huge sword light instantly shattered the silver spear into countless pieces. This wasn't a coincidence. Zhao Fu had been hiding nearby for a long time, looking for an opportunity to show up. Saving people in times of danger was usually easier to gain trust. Don't say that Zhao Fu was a scheming B*TCH, because Zhao Fu was a scheming boss. Xuan Mei, who had been in despair, suddenly appeared and blocked the attack for her. Her heart could not help but tremble as she looked at the man in front of her. He was dressed in black, and his black hair was very long, reaching past his buttocks. He held a demon's sword in his hand, and his entire body gave off a very terrifying aura. However, Xuan Mei felt that he was very reliable. Although she could only see his back, Xuan Mei knew that he was definitely a rarely seen handsome man. The three God Ray City lords looked at the demon race male seriously because they could sense the terrifying demonic chi from Zhao Fu's body. It was definitely demonic chi that only high-class demon race people had. How dare your God race bully someone from the demon race? Because Zhao Fu had long since learned the dark demon language, he could naturally speak. His voice was filled with savagery and domineeringness, making people instinctively fear him. Right after he spoke, Zhao Fu also attacked. He turned into a black blur and shot towards the God Ray City lords, arriving in front of them in an instant. This gave the three God Ray City lords a big fright, and they hurriedly unleashed 3 white energy barriers. However, Zhao Fu raised his sword, and the terrifying demon sword brought with it a sword light that shot out like a bolt of lightning, instantly shattering the 3 energy barriers. This made the 3 city lords want to run, but it was a pity that they were unable to escape. One of them had his chest pierced by Zhao Fu's sword, one was cut in half by Zhao Fu, and one's head was crushed by Zhao Fu's claws. Zhao Fu was incredibly ferocious and domineering, but he was also quite enchanting. A figure could not help but come over. Zhao Fu, who was immersed in his domineeringness, directly hugged this figure. Xuan Mei's face became red as she said coquettishly, "You're so domineering. However, I like it." Zhao Fu came back to his senses and felt quite awkward. It seemed that being too close to women had become instinctive, and Zhao Fu decided to give up on lust and cultivate for a while. After pushing her away, Zhao Fu turned into a ray of demonic light and shot off into the distance, heading to other battlefields. Kill. The demon race will be terrifying to the world, and nothing can stop us from sweeping across the world. On another battlefield, Zhao Fu led a group of demon race people as they charged. The demon race people were incredibly excited and hot-blooded, and they followed the demon race's experts as they charged at the God race people. Zhao Fu also rushed up and started a massive massacre, causing the demon race people to feel quite shocked. After another round of slaughter, Zhao Fu obtained 80 God City Lords, and he could not help but feel delighted. However, just as Zhao Fu was about to head to the next battlefield, his powerful senses detected an intense sense of danger. There was definitely someone ambushing him ahead. It seemed that his performance had been too outstanding, and he was about to be ambushed. Zhao Fu sighed. It seemed that the demon race people would not be able to keep up their act. However, they had obtained 220 God cities in total, and they had relocated 140 demon race cities. The assassins on this mission all had city lord seals, and now that the various city lords were fighting at the front lines, the rear was quite empty, so it was very easy for the assassins to succeed. However, the God race people were unable to go to their world, as the golden doors were already guarded by them. It was almost impossible to enter the spirit light world through the golden doors. Moreover, it seemed that only the spirit light people could use the golden doors, so Zhao Fu had tried pretending to be a God race person. He found that only the spirit light people could use the golden doors, and no other races could. As such, Zhao Fu could only order people to dismantle Qin's transboundary magic formation and rebuild it in the dark demon world before teleporting to the spirit light world. Zhao Fu left the relocation of the God race cities to Qin's assassins, as it was more convenient and suitable for them to do this. Zhao Fu himself returned to Yi Tsong's side. Now that the God race and demon race people could no longer pretend, it was time for him to use his third identity to obtain some benefits for the Night Dynasty. Chapter 783. Follow me and cleanse this land of demons. A God race general rode on a tall, white horse and led a group of cavalrymen to attack. The cavalrymen gave off white light as they galloped on the ground, giving off massive sounds. They all gripped their spears and used the inertia from charging to throw them out. The sound of the air being torn could be heard as countless spears gave off white light and tore through the air towards the defensive walls that the Night Dynasty had constructed. A formless barrier appeared on the Night Dynasty's defensive wall, and the spears gave off terrifying holy light energy and instantly shattered the barrier. However, the spear's power was greatly reduced, and before they could hit the wall, they landed on the ground in front of the defensive wall, filling the ground with spears. The cavalrymen once again took out spears and sent white light into them, causing each spear to give off a faint white light and a wave of holy light energy. Yi Tsong coldly harumphed and gestured to the general next to him. The general obeyed, and people dressed in black robes walked out with serious expressions. They stretched out a hand towards the incoming cavalrymen, and countless traces of darkness energy gathered. Black circular diagrams appeared on the ground, and as the countless horses stepped into them, their hooves seemed to be stuck to a black substance. Countless horses fell to the ground, and some of their legs were broken, causing them to whinny in pain. The cavalrymen on horseback were also thrown to the ground, and countless people were injured, causing the Night Dynasty to fall into chaos. Fire! Yi Tsong gave the order, and countless archers shot out arrows, forming a massive wave of arrows that caused people's hairs to stand on end. The arrows descended like a torrential downpour, and the cavalrymen who had lost their horses were completely defenseless. Immediately, countless God race cavalrymen died, and blood flew everywhere. Those who had not died howled, creating an incredibly gruesome scene. Suddenly, rays of holy light landed on the Night Dynasty's defensive wall. Under the holy light, countless Night Dynasty soldiers howled in pain as if they were being burned. The Night Dynasty's pupils constricted, and they found that countless priests wearing white robes and holding wooden staffs had arrived at the front of the defensive line under the protection of countless God race people and were attacking the Night Dynasty. Taking advantage of this wave of attacks, countless Protoss surged forward. In just a moment, they had reached the defensive wall and started to attack it. The God race people used all sorts of methods to scale the defensive walls, while the Night Dynasty continuously used heavy objects and arrows to counterattack. The Night Dynasty's exclusive professions, the people in black robes, also started to attack. Countless traces of black fog spread out towards the spirit god people. This black fog was incredibly destructive, and anyone who was caught by the black fog would be torn apart, causing blood to spurt out. In an instant, countless members of the god race died, and they looked miserable. Their bodies were lacerated with wounds, and countless amounts of blood dyed them red. The god race's priests also started to attack the Night Dynasty, and the battle between the two sides was incredibly intense. Boom, boom, boom. Massive explosions sounded out as powerful auras descended. 60 or so city lords coldly looked at Yi Tsong. Yi Tsong did not mind at all, and the Night Dynasty's side exploded out with shocking auras. The Night Dynasty's city lords also appeared, and the five ancestors gave off terrifying auras as they charged into the group of enemy city lords. With their power, dealing with 5 or 6 city lords was no problem at all. Following this, Zhao Fu also arrived and unleashed his full power as he started to slaughter. In the end, the god race lost 3 million or so city lords and 40 or so city lords, and they retreated to the Golden Doors and did not continue to attack. The Night Dynasty side also lost 1 million people and a few city lords. Of the 40 city lords who died, 25 had been killed by Zhao Fu. This caused the Night Dynasty's city lords and 4 ancestors to feel incredibly fearful, as they understood that if Zhao Fu wanted to kill them, it would be incredibly easy. However, seeing that Zhao Fu was willing to listen to Yi Tsang's orders, they felt a bit more at ease. Otherwise, staying in front of Zhao Fu would make them feel incredibly uneasy. Of course, this was all an act put on by Zhao Fu to make them feel more at ease. In the next few days, the battle between the Dark Demon race and God race gradually calmed down. Both sides continuously sent in more soldiers, causing the death toll to reach 7 billion people. Moreover, the battle between the two sides was incredibly intense. The heavens collapsed, and the earth caved in, causing yin and yang to twist. Time and space became chaotic, and all creatures were destroyed. Regions were razed to the ground, and the ground was covered with craters. The tall mountains disappeared, and not even grass could be seen. This was a true battle between experts. The battle between the humans and the fish-scale people was on a completely different level. Even though the legatees of both sides did not use their world's energy, they had poured in massive amounts of fate from both worlds. At least 100 nation armaments had appeared, completely throwing the heavens and earth into chaos. This was especially so for the battle between the two world protectors. It was the most terrifying battle that Zhao Fu had ever seen. Back then, Zhao Fu had been hiding in the Night Dynasty, waiting for an opportunity to reap some benefits. Because he had killed the god race, he had obtained 40 god city lords, and because he had to go to the spirit light world to relocate cities, almost no one could do such a thing. Of course, Zhao Fu had happily swallowed the 40 city lord seals without anyone knowing. Adding on the 40 cities, Zhao Fu had obtained 260 cities in total, which shocked Zhao Fu. The Moria city had also obtained a massive amount of EXP and leveled up to a level 1 capital city. Zhao Fu was quite satisfied with his gains this time, and he did not want to reveal his identity, so he happily stood guard at the golden gates that the Night Dynasty was responsible for. Suddenly, an apocalyptic shockwave rippled out, causing his hairs to stand on end, and he felt as if he had fallen into an icy cavern. With such a powerful shockwave, Zhao Fu had to go and take a look, and he saw the two world protectors start a shocking battle. The legatees of the fish-scale world and the human world did not fight much, nor did they have nation armaments. At first, the fish-scale people had completely dominated the humans, but the humans had used venomous tricks to kill them. The battle had not been very intense. On the other hand, the god race and demon race were evenly matched, and both sides were quite powerful. As such, the battles that erupted out were incredibly shocking. However, Zhao Fu hoped that the two worlds would fight as intensely as possible. However, they understood that they could not continue like this, as the greater threat was from the previous world. Therefore, both sides consciously chose to slowly pacify the war. The 1,000 golden gates were reduced to 100, but with the Protoss heavily guarding them, the two armies did not erupt into too intense a battle. Both sides did not want to be weaker than the other. You're tuning into the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.